Okay. And
What is a? 'Cause I obviously know what a vice is, but it says vice slash purveyor. What is
yeah,
like? Is supposed to choose who gives me the?
right. So there's a bunch of different kinds of vices and their purveyors. I can give you a pretty good list later as
Okay.
to who they are and what they are. You're kind of skipping ahead in the character creation. So um, Esther, are you all caught up?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
Uh-huh.
So what? So tell us about your leech so far.
Okay. Well, I'm reading the PDF right now that you posted.
Okay.
Um, so I'm kind of trying to figure out. Um, I guess what I'm a little confused about is the play, how to play.
Yeah. It.
Because I'm scrolling up through the game chat and like I'm seeing all these roles that people did, but I guess
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening.
So yeah, the roles. It's a pretty simple system. For each. So let's say you're doing as a leech, you're making a tinker roll. Click on
Okay.
tinker, and it's going to ask you. Um, so just pick risky and standard for the position and effect.
Hold on, let me scroll down a little. Can't seem to find it.
Whoa, that's cool. How come I'm still the hound?
Where are these? Um,
So are you looking at your sheet?
yes, and
Okay.
I don't know
So
where to pick.
so look in the upper right where it says
Okay.
insight.
Yeah, okay.
The bottom skill there is tinker.
Okay. And I see a bunch of dots on it, but I don't know what that means.
Yep, that's fine. So um, don't don't add any dots.
Okay.
You started with three, so I just rechecked
Okay.
one of those. So click on tinker. Just click the link.
And then it says risky. So I say okay. Effect?
Standard.
Okay. Bonus dice. No, right?
Right. Okay. So
Ooh,
so
man.
let's look at the difference between Nate's roll and your roll. So Nate
Okay.
has a 0 in his tinker. So he rolled a 2 and a 6, and it says 0 dice, take the lowest result above. So his result is a 2. We'll get to what that means in a second. You have a 2 in tinker, so you actually roll 2 dice and take the highest one. If you had a 1, you roll 1 die.
Uh-huh.
Um, what all that means though is the result is going to be invariably 1 through 6. A 1 through 3 is a bad result. There's going to be significant consequences, particularly based upon the position that you were in. So if this was a risky or a desperate position, the consequences might be pretty high.
Okay.
If you rolled a 4 or a 5, you're going to succeed, but with a minor consequence. Still, from a risky or desperate position, those still might be consequences that you might take some stress. You might um, alert the guards. You might, the consequences vary, um, and then you can try and resist some harm if that is one of the consequences that you get some harm. Um, then there's the effect, which is tacked onto that. So what that's sort of dictated by um, what it is that you're going up against. So if you are going toe to toe with a demon by yourself with just a knife, your effect is going to be minimal.
As a non-combat thing, like last session, like pretending to be a dock worker, and I was trying to intimidate my superior, so it wouldn't have had a standard effect because he's technically my boss. So why would I be able to intimidate him?
Right.
Okay.
And the position If you're going with a desperate roll, you actually get experience in that category because you're trying something desperate, but it's still fun to do that, right?
Uh-huh.
Bonus dice you can get are from people supporting you, or from you sort of digging deep and saying you're going to take 2 stress to add a bonus die. So you're really pushing yourself, is what they call it.
Or Matt can offer you a deal with the devil.
Yes, or yes, I can offer you a devil's bargain, which is a way to say, okay, so I'll give you a bonus die, but maybe you're jumping from such a great height to land on this guy that you know you're going to break your ankle or something. So you're definitely going to probably have some good effect, but I'm going to give you a level 1 harm or a level 2 harm to go with that. And if you say, yeah, I want to take that anyway, you can do that.
Okay.
Also, if you haven't chosen background, I typed them all up in the chat.
So, and I know a lot of the examples we gave are loosey-goosey. Like, there's no, like, if you roll this, you do this. You do X amount of damage, and that's on purpose. This is a loosey-goosey game. We're sort of leading narrative first. So we're dealing with the most mechanics that you'll probably deal with during a play session is the first session, because you're just getting used to the character sheet.
Okay.
Also, rolling a 6 is a success with no consequences, and two or more 6s is a critical success.
That's right.
Okay. I'm gonna start filling in this sheet. Is that right? Or do I open a different one?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead and fill in that sheet. Make it your own.
Okay.
Don't change the where it says leech in the upper right.
Uh-huh.
Put your name in the name section, and then
Okay.
when it comes to editing, like the bio and stuff,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna want to change the name in Roll20 as well, just to make it yours. But
Okay.
this is all you.
All right.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is choose a heritage for your.
Hey, this is really mean. You owe me like 12 tubs of vapor rub.
Yeah, so a name is good. Choosing a heritage, and you don't have to choose all these now. These are just kind of where you're starting from. Maybe you want to fill these in later, just until you get a better hang of things.
Okay.
But you're going to want a background, and then the first step you're really supposed to do is assigning 4 action dots. So we were talking about the actions before. Some people call them skills, and you start with 3, and you get 4 to assign. You assign them from left to right, and so that obviously gives you a die in each category. Well, each dot represents a die that you roll, right? The reason there's a line down the left-hand side is that for each level 1 action that you have in a category, that rolls up into insight, prowess, or resolve. Those are your what are they called? Somebody help me out here.
Those are the resistance rolls.
Yeah, those are the resistance rolls, but they're called something. Anyways,
I can't remember.
yeah.
So it's like your ability score, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Or your ability, sort of.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so when you roll to resist, say, somebody punching you in the face, you would roll your prowess.
Okay.
So if you're good at wrecking stuff, which is blowing things up essentially, or knocking down doors, if you're good at skirmishing, which is going toe to toe with somebody, or finesse, which is you're dodging and weaving and all of that. That'll reflect how well you are at avoiding damage as well. Okay.
Okay.
So you're the leech. You started with 2 in Tinker and 1 in Rec. You by no means have to fill in the rest of your dots around those. You can put some into Consort and Sway, which I believe Consort, Command, and Sway are kind of covered off by the spider and the slide. But these are how you lie to people and how you get people to do your bidding. But if you're more of a rules follower, maybe you don't have so much in command. But anyways, so that's kind of
I
there's
think I kind of get the gist of it.
They're called attributes, by the way.
yes,
You're an attribute.
yeah. So the actions support attributes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll put one
Mr.
in here.
Clem.
So Nate, did
That's
you get all
so
that?
rude.
Yes. How many points do I have to spend?
4.
Like,
You have 4, but you can't put more than 2 in right now. Like,
Yeah, max
Okay.
rating is 2 for a starting character. Sorry.
okay. Is there like a
Wait.
cheat
what?
sheet you can link me to for like what? I mean, I guess I can kind of just figure it out from the names of.
Yeah. Let's
What
see.
is it? What is the only ones I don't understand are like attune, command, consort, and sway. Like, is that kind of like commanding people to do what I want them to, like
yeah.
brown nosing people and
Command is more like intimidation type, getting what you want. Sway would be more like brown nosing.
Yeah. So there's a reference here that kind of goes into the how to roll things, how to do teamwork,
Okay.
and the
Thank you.
descriptions for all the actions.
oh, attune is spirits.
Yes.
Yeah, Tune's just doing magic stuff.
Okay. And just a question about the hound. It says that I have a trained hunting pet. What is that?
Sweet.
It can be another hound, if you will. It can be. I don't know. Do you have any ideas for what a Taikarasi hunting animal would be?
Well, tell me more about Tiger Ross, where I come from,
Well, really, you're supposed to
which
tell
I
me
may
about
have
it.
not.
So you, so Taikarros is a weird place to the north, across the sea. People are said to be part demon.
Okay.
How
Yeah,
true
maybe
that
have
is?
a hellhound.
How true that is can be up to you. Yeah, it could be a hellhound, could be a big cat, could be, I don't know, spider.
Okay. Let me. I will get back to you in a few minutes then.
Okay. So next is choosing a special ability. And Nate, by the way, you don't have to choose. So
What's happening?
Oh, just an earthquake, you know.
Okay.
so you do get a hunting pet right away, huh? Okay.
Yes.
So next is choosing your special ability. The top choice for special ability is sort of the default choice for starting out. You're not constrained to that. You can pick a different one. Top choice is just sort of if you're a beginner, that's
Sorry,
what they
special
recommend.
ability where?
Where are they listed?
On the left-hand side, underneath the harm.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I choose one of these. I don't.
Yes, you get one
Get all
special
of them.
ability.
Okay. Okay. I will
Oh.
think on that. I thought that I got all those, and I was gonna be like, wow.
No, yeah,
Seems
Maybe eventually.
seems pretty good.
These
yeah,
pretty
maybe
OP guys.
eventually. You can actually also, if you invest a lot of XP, you can get a veteran special ability, which is essentially it lets you pick a special ability from another play sheet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They call the classes playbooks
Okay.
or play sheets.
Maybe I should do support again.
Nah.
Why are you over there making berries?
No, but I might be hitting a few people in there.
You can also think of the leech as somebody who might be throwing Molotov cocktails at people. So.
That was the other thing. Could make bombs and stuff. I was like, yeah. Oh, that seems pretty cool. Okay, I've picked one.
Okay.
What like kind of like what's the word for this setting, Matt? Is it like dark fantasy or is it like
It-
steampunk sci-fi? Like
It's
It's
like unicorns.
sort of, yeah. Um,
No, I'm just kidding.
fairies and unicorns. I would say dark Victorian fantasy, sci-fi. I don't know. I mean, it's not really sci-fi.
when you
Victorian
If you've
steampunk,
ever
I'd say.
played
So wait, are
when
you
you
saying
said
we're not
Dishonored
lost?
earlier.
exactly that.
yeah, it's so like Dishonored-ish.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
pretty much
Dishonored.
how Matt said it was pretty much identical.
I mean, straight up, get people with funky spirit abilities.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So Nate, did you pick a special ability?
Um
It's okay, you got time. As
Yeah.
still trying to catch up to you.
yeah, I'm leaning towards sharpshooter, but
Okay.
that seems pretty supportive. What is I mean, so it says I can suppress people. That just means like they're not gonna be able to really like move around, right?
Yeah. I mean, it means what you think it means.
Okay.
Again, can be kind of loosey goosey.
Okay.
So next is picking a friend, an ally, and a rival. So Nate, you've already picked one.
I picked both mine, yeah.
Picked yours. So on the right hand side, Esther, where it says clever friends,
Okay.
you pick those, and they're kind of your deal, your jam as to what each of those things means. Um, so Nate, I'll say a physiker is basically a physician.
Yeah, I read it as Psyker for like 3 times because of Warhammer, but then I realized that
Yeah.
How many do I pick?
So one up and one down.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah, one friend and one rival. So what you'll want to do is kind of take some time to think about who your friends are, like what they mean to you. And I'd encourage kind of using the notes section down below to flesh these people out a little bit. You don't have to do that now, but just kind of in your
Okay.
own time, you can do that. You'll notice in roll 20 where it says Celia's scheme, that's actually somebody's rival. It's your Whisper's rival Whisper, or not your Spider's rival Spider, if you will. So
Oh yeah.
What?
Spo-
Hold on.
Oh,
so,
that's what
so,
that clock would be. Okay.
so Thorn has a rival information broker,
Whoops.
and so
Is that penguin?
That is the penguin. I changed the picture to the penguin.
Okay.
and and so their sort of scheming was not, so Thorn said they were trying to muscle in and set up shop as a rival information broker, and so there's Celia's scheming their revenge, and the ideas behind these clocks, these little things, circles, is that those are progress meters, and I'm going to be very transparent about who's working against you and what's going on. There may be some sort of vague ones from time to time, encroaching doom, if you will. But so I mean, you worked with the Lampblacks for your last score, and so their suspicion level of you is currently 0. But if for whatever reason you decide to cross them, or becomes apparent that you're working with the say the Red Sashes for a bit, they're going to start to view you with more suspicion and maybe um, plan some retaliation or something. So that's what these um, all these clocks are for. The head porter was sort of the guy guarding the score last time, and so he had his own clock. So these clocks can be tracking long-term things or short-term, depending on what's going on. So that's why you have a clocks section on your sheet if you want to track your own projects and things. That's what that's for.
The reason I was confused is because my map was zoomed all the way in, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" So I gotcha now.
Yeah. And this is very much a lot of theater of the mind. There's not going to be tactical combat maps for this. This is because the scores are meant to be pretty fluid in terms of setup and the different settings that you'll find yourself in. Um, so next is to choose your vice. Sort of the recommended vices are faith, gambling, luxury, obligation. So that could be like your family or an organization or something that you're obligated to. Pleasure, stupor, or something weird. So it could be something to do with the demon worship or other kind of taboos that you're involved in. Maybe you've got some kind of blood oath to a demon or his affiliated organization. But that could also be faith. So
Is on the topic of like the demons, are they like straight up either like lawful or chaotic evil to like a person, or are they like out for themselves, or are they like the big bad? Like what?
yeah, they run the gamut from they could be lawful evil, they could be chaotic evil, they could be neutral evil. Um, most of the ones you'll interact with are sort of the scheming type, unless you go out into beyond the lightning barriers, then you might get some straight up poltergeists that are trying to, pull your teeth out or something. They could be anything from the demon in Paranormal Activity to the demon host that you might get from Warhammer 40k. That's slicing you in half with one swing.
Yeah, I would prefer to not have the Warhammer 40k demons.
So who do we select for the purveyor, or is that already preset?
So I got a list of purveyors I can provide you, or you can pick one, or you can make one up if you like.
Okay.
Where did you go? 299.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well does the nickname Big Papa fit in to this game?
If you want to make it work, I think you can make it work.
I'm just kidding. That would be horrible.
It would be a little horrible, but I'm not saying you couldn't make it
I
work.
would allow it. He would just kill you.
Yeah.
Probably.
You step outside and one of the lightning gates malfunctions, and unfortunately, I rolled a dice, and Big Papa, you actually have to make a new character.
So did you pick a vice?
I did.
Which vice?
Pleasure.
Okay.
Same.
I mean,
So-
Matt's already planning on killing us all
Oh,
off
baby.
in the game.
So
He's putting the game off.
so there's a tavern called the Leaky Bucket in Crowsfoot. Martin Gull might be able to point you towards some of the loose ladies there. There's there's a tavern in Night Market, sort of the same deal. There's a casino in Silk Shore.
Sweet. That's where
So-
I want to hang out.
that might be sort of rich, but you might be able to swing it. So there's a woman there named Helene, which might be your hookup for whatever sort of pleasure you're seeking at the at the casino. Um,
Sweet. Is there a list of these people?
yeah, I don't know if they're in the references anywhere. Let me see.
Okay. Okay.
Does that casino offer free drinks?
They
Probably if
have
you're
turkey
gambling,
legs.
but that might require some coin, and we know how well you deal with that.
I'll just do the penny
Hey,
slots.
sorry. Hey Matt,
Yes.
this hunting animal companion pet friend thing that I have, is this like a familiar like a bird, or is this more like Pathfinder animal companion kind of deal?
What do you want it to be?
Okay, that's all I needed because like I'm trying to find like an image and then like base it off that, but I didn't know if like
Yeah.
there's more.
I don't think there's any hard and fast rule for it. But, there aren't a lot of hard and fast rules for a lot of this. So, um, I can copy and paste this list here for the these are both for pleasure and stupor. So, Nate, did you pick a vice, by the way?
Yeah, I picked pleasure also.
Okay. So that's the list for both pleasure and stupor. So some of them may not necessarily be your jam. So those are the purveyors. You can make one up if you like. I mean, if you pick pleasure, I'm going to downright assume that you're visiting a lady of the night on a regular basis.
What if I am the lady of the night, Matt?
That could also work. Or lady or man of the night. I would if your character happens to be that way. Is this a let's see.
Or drugs. Evidently, you can take drugs, which
Yeah, that
is
would be
more what I was leaning towards. But
that would kind of be stupor, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit of either.
It could be pleasure.
Because I think it was listed under both.
it is. So I will pick the one that it's more in, I guess.
Depends on what you're aiming to do with the drugs. Just having a little bit of fun, or like I picked stupor and I indulged a vice of drugs last time.
Did you die?
No.
Well, normally your
lost.
stupor.
I lost coin and I lost rep for our crew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were kind of a hot mess.
Yeah, I got way
It's the
too,
best kind of mess, really.
I got way too drunk and I started bragging about. Well, I was about to brag about our thing and then I chose a different thing. I guess I forget which one I chose, but yeah, we lost rep gold.
And then the rest is to kind of record your name and your alias and pick your look from the sort of the list there on the reference sheet. So that's kind of the whole shebang of it. Pretty short in terms of character creation. Like I said, there's a stress tracker for sort of stress is your main currency, if you will, in terms of getting things done inside of a score.
Mm-hmm.
There's if you choose to bring armor with you, there's armor that can be used to kind of to kind of resist harm. If you bring heavy armor, you get the plus heavy as well. And if you pick a special, that means you can that comes from like a special ability. It'll tell you to use your special armor to do something.
Okay.
So
So how, like, what's the limiting factor here of like what to bring?
So the limiting factor of what you bring on a score, and you don't really pick right away what you're carrying,
Okay.
because
Other
it's
than
sort of
what it
assumed
tells me I have, right?
it's sort of assumed that you're keeping your stuff in your apartment or hideout, Um,
Okay.
although I believe the Canal Street Couriers chose to include barrack in their hideout.
Yep.
So you're free to stay there rather than risk your neck by staying outside of the nice hidden confines of your sort of it's a abandoned canal station. Um, the canals underneath Duskfall, they run under Duskfall as well as around all the islands and such. And they're sort of the main mode of transport. There's carriages and there's canal boats, and
Mhm.
the Canal Street Couriers happen to have a boat. Um, so the limiting factor is the things in italics. You don't bother counting against what you call your load. A load of 3 is a light load.
Isn't like just any 3 things. Like
Well, it's 3 check boxes. So your
yeah,
fine
any
long rifle counts as 2. Um, but a light load is generally assumed you could be at a cocktail party with what you're carrying and nobody would
Yeah.
really notice. So the
just
the
have a
long
fine
rifle
long rifle under my coat.
the long rifle may take some explaining, but not impossible. The So a light load is yeah, you're wearing a cocktail dress or you're wearing a nice suit. The 5 load is sort of wouldn't be out of place on the streets, but it's definitely a not for more casual affair. You might be fine in a tavern, but if you're going to a masquerade, you might not get through the door. Heavy load, it's pretty clear that you're geared for war, and you might have heavy armor on, that kind of thing. So you don't move very quickly with a heavy load.
Yeah.
So do you guys? So I guess Griff, do you kind of want to take us through, who Griff is and what he's all about?
The
I
answer is
mean,
no.
I guess I could.
I just to kind of get these guys some flavor as to what they're doing and
Okay.
I
The
mean
name's Griffin. I'm from Scotland. Grew up on the streets. I was fighting. Never really had much close family. Came back here to what is this canal called again?
Duskfall.
Duskfall. Sorry.
If it makes you feel better in the other campaign, I always do the exact same thing. Like, we come from the town that's name is.
Yeah. It's
Duskfall
going to take
to
a
make
while.
a name for myself.
Yeah.
I like fighting.
You want to tell us about your friends there?
Yeah. So I met a friend when I got here a little while after named Chael. He's a vicious thug like me. See a lot of myself in him. He's like a little brother. I also have some bad history with the Physica Sawtooth.
All right.
Another friend I met here. She died, and I blame it on him.
Perfect. Thorn, you want to give us a little taste of what you're all about?
Sure. Thorn is also from Scotland, and he was a noble there until we lost the war, and now is a refugee here in Duskfall. Really, really misses his fancy rich nobleman's lifestyle, so he has turned to a life of crime and attempt to make money back. His first attempts resulted in him muscling in on Celia's turf as an information broker, and she is not happy about that. But I did make some friends with some of the other Scotland refugees, one of whom is an archivist for the cops, a guy by the name of Jaren. And yeah, now I fell in with these guys and figure smuggling's the next safest crime compared to information dealing.
Lovely. And we've also got Biddy, who is who's the slide. She's from Akaros, and her family is very important to her. She's got an indeterminate number of sisters who are her vice, really. So she's looking after them. That's where most of her coin ends up going.
More than 4 sisters, but less than 6, but indeterminate.
Right. And so she's got some fun friends, a tavern owner, as well as she's run afoul of a bitchy mean girl who spoiled her plan with one of her patrons.
It's the worst kind of girl.
Yes, and but she's also currently working on a project to find a contact who might be able to supply some illegal hooch. So
Best kind of hooch.
yeah. So there's another mechanic at play here called your stash that I want to call out. Coin is sort of a indeterminate amount of money, but it's sort of a large coin purse, if you will, is coin.
Mm-hmm.
The term comes from it used to be that the old Imperium would mint gold coins, and one of those was worth a lot of money. Now the common coinage is actually they call them slugs, and they're silver, and that's kind of what you see scattered around the tabletop here. But and nobody really calls those coins, they call them slugs or something else. But so coin is sort of a large amount of money, and it's what you use to get something done. So it's really not practical to have more than four coin hanging around. So what you can do is put it into your stash. Stash is something that you accrue and sort of determines how well you're going to retire. So once you get to 10 coin in your stash, you're going to retire above, living on the streets, right? And it also determines how effective you are. It represents a die essentially in a roll you might make to say, I want to bribe so and so. I want to, splash my money around at the casino. Sort of determines how much coin you might, or how many slugs you might have on hand to do something on a given day.
Okay.
So the coin that you make on your job gets divvied up however you guys see fit, and so I think everybody got 1 coin from the last job, and a couple went to the crew, and then the crew ended up spending a coin to get somebody out of trouble.
Somebody. And I might have spent another one of my coins to get someone else out of trouble.
Right. Anyways, you start with 0 coin, and that sort of represents the fact that you are buying in to the crew, and you've spent your last coin to get in to establish this crew, however you want to say you're involved with the crew. The crew has a lot of different things going on with it. Right now, you have a stronghold on tier 0, which means that you're ready to bump up to be a tier 1 crew. The Lamp Blacks, I think, are a tier 2 crew, tier 2 faction. And so tiers kind of there's a lot involved in what a tier is, but essentially it's the quality of the gear that you have. Um, it's the ability to make contacts, and it's sort of the overall, like, if you're a tier 0 crew going up against a tier 3 crew, you might not have such great effect against some of the devices and things that they would employ against you.
Mhm.
So it's sort of how well you are to how well you're placed. And so to do that, the crew has their own XP that gets tracked on the sheet. They have their own coin, and you can store coin in the vault. Coin gets spent though to hire cohorts, which might be um, you might have an expert in something. So you might have a doctor or a physiker, or an apothecary. You already have an apothecary, I guess. But somebody who's an expert in something, or it might be a small crew of thugs or something, um, or people who are real good at knifing people or something like that. So you spend some of your rep and your coin to get that kind of thing set up. Let's see what else.
Okay.
You get enough rep, you go up a tier. You get XP, you get to pick other special abilities. You have the crew right now has a special ability that during downtime you automatically lose heat, which is nice. And if your heat is
Jesus
low,
Christ.
you get to deceive people easier when you're passing yourself off as a normal person. There's a group contact, Esme, also a tavern owner. So you guys are in good with the local taverns. The Minstrel's Mead is sort of the hangout when you're not in your abandoned canal station.
Okay.
The lair is hidden, has quarters, and if and during your downtime you can train in prowess if you like, which if you'll notice on your own sheet, there's little tick marks next to each of the attributes: insight, prowess, and resolve.
Yes.
Once you mark XP in those columns when you perform an action that's desperate in one of those columns. But you can also mark XP in those when during your downtime you get 2 downtime actions. One can be training, and one could be indulging your vice, or it could be working on a special project. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do.
Um,
Are you gonna keep that look, Etsy?
I was thinking about it.
hey, Matt, I have a question about items real quick.
What's that?
So, like, if I were to take armor, right? Like, is that armor that I'm putting on top of clothing, or can I be like, yeah, I have like a 2 check mark, like armored leather jacket or something, and like that wouldn't look as weird as me like walking around in like strapped on armor? Like what? Like
It really depends on sort of what narrative you want to put on it. If you've got a light load, I'd say that yeah, you could probably get away with some hidden armor, but that gives you fewer places to hide, say, a pistol.
Yeah, since a light load only gives you 3 and armor takes up 2, pretty much only get 1 other thing.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay if it doesn't.
yeah. One other thing. What is electroplasmic ammunition?
Ghost bullets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those would be effective against demons.
Those
Okay.
are demon bullets, Justin.
Sorry, my
Get
bad.
it right.
Demon bullets.
Okay.
Ghost bullets is fine. Yeah. So the items that you
They're
have.
like Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So the items in the gray are sort of specific to your playbook. The items down below are kind of common to everybody. So Esther, are you dying right now? How you feeling?
I feel about all right. My head's like about to explode, but other than that, I feel pretty good.
Okay, good. So um, why don't we take a quick break here? I'm gonna pour myself a drink, and we can
Good to see you. I haven't lost the touch.
maybe sneak in a score here before Esther's head implodes or something.
Did she roll to
If
resist that?
if you're feeling up for it, I'm fine rolling a score with just 3, but 4 would be fun too. So
I'm okay right now.
okay,
I think I'll be fine in a bit too.
cool. Um, also, the big descriptions that I put at the front of the sheet, um, they have questions you might want to ask yourself about the friends or the rivals. They have just a little bit extra information about the special abilities as to like how they might work mechanically, or when you might want to use those. Um, Similarly with the items, that's why I copied and pasted all that in there, is because it goes just a slight step beyond what's in the playbook. Um, Feel free to delete that stuff if you're no longer using it, and fill in with your own stuff about your character, or just leave it
So
there if you
where
want it
is
for
that?
reference.
Did you say?
Under the bio and info stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So do you want us to fill that in if we've already I already, excuse me, know what I want my 2 people to be. So
Yeah, but it just it asks questions that you might want to ask yourself about them,
mhm.
that kind of thing. So okay, we'll take a quick break and be back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
What are you eating? No, what is that other thing? Papa bless. Papa bless. No, thank you. Thank you. Stop making. Don't throw food at me. This is really rude.
Then just take the food from your carer.
I won't. What are you grabbing at? Stop that.
I'm also just realizing now I never said it. I'm Nate, by the way. I'm from Matt's other Pathfinder game.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm bad at introductions.
I just realized
What's
that
a Yuggles?
it Yuggles originated many years ago when I played Quake Wars, and one of the like randomly named NPC dudes that was on your side was Private Yuggles, and like that son of a bitch just got blown up all the time. So as an homage to the brave Private Yuggles, I adopted him as my gamer tag for everything.
I like it.
Poor
You
Yuggles.
think that might have been why Matt killed you guys a bunch?
Oh no! Matt never. Matt killed everybody else. Matt did not kill me.
Not for trying. Not for lack of
No,
trying.
I have become so accidentally overpowered. It's hilarious.
All right, I'm setting up streaming here since we're getting to the meat of the game
Oh,
as
no
well. All right.
Excuse me. I'm gonna just mute myself again.
All right, we don't need the head porter's alert anymore, so I'll just set that to
So
0.
I think I've got everything good now.
So the
Yeah.
the symbols on this are purposeful. The big red crossed swords there represents the war between the Lamp Blacks and the Red Sashes. And this little quadrilateral represents the sort of your hunting grounds. That's kind of where your station is at, as well as where you guys are most comfortable operating.
Okay.
And sort of as a way in, you paid off the Lamp Blacks and a guy named Bazos Baz, and he ended up. Well, let's see. James, do you want to kind of recap what happened the last time?
Yeah, so the Red Sashes bringing in this sword that's special to them. And so we decided to steal it to gain favor with the Lamp Blacks. And so I posed as a worker on the rail. And Biddy posed as one of those people who basically just like, I want to speak to your manager if you don't do everything she says.
Mhm.
Dressed up in noble clothes. And since we didn't have the proper papers, we pretty much just played to that. You know, like her yelling about it and me trying to convince the dude to just let her have it. We did end up getting it, and we got found out at the very end, but we got away with the sword on the Paralicious. That's our boat.
Nice.
We're not voting on the name, even though Matt said we had to. It's settled.
I am totally
Well-
good with Paralicious.
I just think that you might want to consider Bodylicious.
Yeah.
You know, these started as serious names for the boat. Getting worse.
I just think Bodylicious is evocative.
And we had to do a, is it entanglement afterwards? You have to do those after the score. And apparently the entanglement was at Chael, got taken by a rival gang, so we had to pay them off, which is how we lost one of the gold.
He was taken by the Bluecoats.
The blue coats. Oh, the blue coats. Okay, yeah, we paid them off to get them out.
Yeah, entanglements get worse and worse the more heat you have as a crew. But entanglements are going to happen no matter what, and they're just kind of what you have to deal with after the end of the score.
The nice thing is we took a special ability for the crew that we lose heat and downtime.
Yeah, and yeah, you guys are in no danger of getting arrested, but a good way to just eliminate your heat altogether is to send somebody to jail. And there's a whole mini game there's a whole sheet for tracking your turf inside of the prison, if you will.
I think my character even has a special ability where he can be better in jail than he is outside of jail. It's my class. It's like the jailbird.
It can
Sure.
also traumatize you, like flat out, if you get a bad roll when you go in. So it's sort of important to once you once you start to establish a presence in jail, things get easier. But right off the bat, it's bad news.
Yep.
The jail's over here, by the way.
Okay.
Actually, that is in the. Let me look at the map here real quick. So that's Dunslow, where the radiant energy farms are, and the eel reefs. So most of those big blocks you see over in Dunslow are the farms where it's a lot of mushroom farms, and people are making all sorts of contraptions to plant seeds for, rare breeds of food at this point. Most of what you eat is pretty disgusting. It's, fish or mushroom based.
People, it's just not.
Yeah, people. It's people's
He
delicacy.
says disgusting, but both those sound really good. So I guess it's disgusting.
Each of the other districts, there's Coleridge, Night Market, Six Towers, Charter Hall, Brightstone, the Docks, and White Crown and Silkshore. They all have their own thing going on. So
Where do
you
you
get.
even see these names?
There's another map I can show you.
Matt has
Oh,
a cheat
okay.
sheet.
Oh no. Don't worry about it. I was just a little
Too late.
confused from
Too
it.
late.
Too
Okay. Never mind.
Hey, that drawing is still.
Yep. So that's kind of the. It's confusing because this is actually the complete inverse of the other map. Or
Yes.
completely
Okay.
spun
Yeah.
around.
I see. We're in Crow's Foot though.
Yeah, you're in Crowsfoot,
Okay.
and neither of these maps are oriented toward the north, just to make it even more confusing.
Nice.
White Crown is actually in the north, so.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Sweet.
and as we get into this, and you want to get more acquainted with it, on that same site, but that I gave you all the reference sheets, there's sort of one sheets about all of these different districts and what goes on in them.
Okay, cool.
So you guys will have some reading to do if you are super interested in this stuff.
And for 3 easy payments of
Sweet.
$19.99, I'll send you my copy of the PDF.
So the up here was the train station where the last score went down, and just for your reference, these docks over here are the docks.
Sweet.
So
So do you need to know who we chose, Matt, for our friends, or does that not come into play now?
it can come into play whenever you want it to. I may pull from that as I'm suggesting scores, but I'm not the sole source of scores. You guys can
Or
determine.
entanglements.
Yes, they can come into play during entanglements as well. I'm not the sole source of scores. You guys are by all means encouraged to suggest scores as you get the hang of things.
Okay.
So I can throw out a few hooks and suggestions for where to go and what to do, but I'm perfectly happy winging it and going with something else. So the red sashes are the Eruvians that you took a score against, right? And they're searching for this sword that you got, and so that's one of these progress markers, right? If word gets out that you guys stole the sword and it was you, indeed you, the red sashes would not be happy with you. There's, by the way, the factions sheet kind of goes into depth about a lot of the different factions that are here. Oh, and that reminds me, we forgot one step in the crew creation. We were supposed to kind of talk about where things are at, but you guys are a status 1 with the lamp black. That means that they like you.
Okay.
These are the only
Where is
people
this
in town.
faction sheet?
Do you see the factions?
I see rules, I see actions, and payoff. I do not see.
Oh no. So I'm sorry, under characters. the Canal Street Couriers. and
Oh,
then-
okay, yeah. Sorry, I was totally looking at the wrong.
So there's a faction sheet, which is the third mode of the character sheets for this game, by the way.
Okay.
And so these are all of the default factions that it comes with. And so you worked with the Lamp Blacks for the last round. So you have a status of 1 with them. They are, as I said, a tier 2 sort of underworld faction. Red Sashes, also tier 2. They're the ones that you kind of that you stole from last time. And then there's the Crows. And these 3 are all duking it out inside of Crow's Foot. The Crows used to keep the peace. They used to have a deal worked out between the 3 groups. But a woman named Lissa is rumored to have killed the leader of the Crows and taken over. She was second in command. So,
And do we know if she is she the one that set the 2 against each other, or was it like without the peacekeeper they both just went at each other's throats?
it's hard to say.
Okay.
Things just sort of deteriorated after that went down. So,
Okay.
but so with this faction sheet in mind, and there's places to take notes if you expand the faction, hit the little caret next to them, you can take notes about them. But when you hit a certain status with them, if you go below a certain status, you automatically go to war with them,
Stop that.
which is something that you don't want to do. But
Okay. War is bad.
yes, war is bad. So one thing we
War.
forgot to do though is when you picked your crew upgrades, one faction helped you get an upgrade. So you can take a +1 status with that faction. So who do you think would be likely to give you one of the upgrades that you took, which would be the somebody has changed the Canal Street Couriers to be a faction sheet. Okay, so you took the hidden layer and the quarters as your upgrades. So somebody obviously helped you find this station, right? So who would have been a good hookup for that?
The Unseen.
I was just thinking that, but that's like a really high level.
That's
faction,
exactly
right?
why I suggested it.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I wasn't here last time, so I don't really know if
Yeah, so
Don't worry, none of you were besides me.
okay.
Not even Matt was there last time. It was
no,
really
I
weird.
was I was at
It was
lunch.
just James. He was playing by himself.
Um,
There's like one that says scavengers.
I mean, from what I've been told, we helped the Lampblacks, right? So
So-
Yeah, we got one status with the Lamp Blacks already.
I'm not even sure you guys would be like aware of the unseen outside of
rumors.
rumors that they exist because they don't. I mean, so they're a criminal enterprise.
Believe it or not, the unseen is not the face of the underworld now.
They're a criminal enterprise with a secret membership. So
Okay, what about the Dockers?
I'm not
or the
opposed to one of you.
They
gondoliers?
might
Because
know.
it is a canal station.
Or
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
One
so
of
you
those
you
two.
want to be in good with the gondoliers?
Yeah.
That's perfectly viable. So
When the moon hits your eye.
yeah, exactly.
Like a big
Um, but I mean, these guys know a lot about what's going on in all of Duskfall because they're everywhere, right? They're a guild, and they've got ancient tradition, and it's said that they might know some occult secrets. They're they're a
That
tier
makes sense.
3, but it makes sense that you guys would be in good with them. So you can either have one status, or you can spend a coin to get 2 status.
2 status.
How much
guys.
money do we have?
We have 1 gold in the crew, and
Wow.
then we can't take the other gold we have in Maggie's because I'm not allowed to play her apparently. Even though Matt promised I could.
Okay, why don't we not spend it?
Why don't
Yeah.
we spend it?
Why don't we not spend
Like,
it?
I'm not good with keeping on to gold though. Like, let's just spend it.
You can let me hold on to
If
it.
if we hold on to the gold, I guarantee I will screw something up and we'll lose it anyway. Might as well get rid of it now.
This is even funnier in character. Like,
let's-
guys, trust me, I fuck up a lot. Like,
No, seriously.
I mean, that's all last session was. Like, okay, so the hardest thing, so normally you want a 6 for stuff unless you're indulging your vice, because if you relieve more stress than you have, you overindulge. I had 5 stress, so I was like, okay, solid. I'm gonna relieve stress. I rolled a 6.
nice.
It's just how you roll, man. Okay. So we've got 1 vote for and 1 vote against. Anybody else weighing in?
I'm gonna say hold on to the money for now.
So you guys are in good with the gondoliers. But somebody else may have had their eye on this for a hideout.
Ooh.
So who do you think you might have screwed over for this?
The unseen.
Stop that nonsense.
So
Could be Ulf.
I was just about to say Ulf
I was gonna
Ironborn
say,
because he sounds like
yeah.
a badass.
I was gonna say the Lost because they lost their base.
the Lost.
I mean, yeah, really, we were just helping them keep their name safe.
Exactly. I mean, we should gain some status with them for real.
So I've just got like, in terms of the factions themselves, they're just all loosely outlined, so they can be kind of whatever we want them to be. But the Lost, they're just street toughs, ex-soldiers, and they're sort of dedicated to protecting the downtrodden and hopeless. So they're sort of
So
like,
they're like the Diet Coke Batman of this city.
yeah, kind of.
I mean, I am the Penguin, so I'm kind of okay having a bad reputation with Batman.
Faction.
With the good
Who's
guy.
tell me more about the Viking, Ulf Ironborn.
So Wolf Ironborn. Where is he?
He's 2 up. He is the 3rd. He's a rank 1 in the underground.
Oh, Wolf Ironborn. I gotcha. So he's a Scovlander, newly arrived in Duskfall, and he's fighting everyone. He's just punching people in the face.
Jeez.
I mean, I kind of like the idea that like we chose the angriest guy possible, and we're like, "Hey, fuck you." So
Yeah,
can,
that does
can we
sound
pick a
sweet.
fight with him?
I mean, it sounds like everyone's gonna be okay if we, rough him up a bit.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's also
It sounds
the
like everyone wants to beat him.
yeah, it's a really like savvy choice because we beat him, we get the hideout, and if the guy's going around punching everybody, then everybody's gonna know who takes him out, and if we take him out, then everybody who hates him kind of like owes
Okay.
us a solid.
So Ulf is none too pleased with you. So you get a -2 with Ulf, unless you want to spend 1 coin to mollify him, and then which you get a -1.
Not bad.
His faction's pretty weak. I'd say it's not too big of a deal right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you guys go to war with him, and he starts shouting you to pieces,
Oh, jeez.
I
warn you.
did see the description.
I like how you're not including yourself in the you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the gunner. He's gonna be the one who, if anyone can make the fort safe, it's him.
All right, fair enough. What is the level at which you go to war with somebody? I want to know, because that would be pretty
Mine is
interesting.
-3.
Is
Oh, okay.
Is
So
it 3?
So we're just
so we
we're just about
we
there.
step on the wrong toe and we're at war.
He's Like he's not alone. He's got his crew with him.
The Stormcloaks.
Yes, the Stormcloaks. But
The weather capes.
we can say that we'll call this one Ulf's patience, and we'll say that it's in the process of running out. So we'll give it a 1 here.
This fighting has given him an ulcer.
But
And that was the -1. He gets into that joke. And
Yep,
we go
that's,
to war.
Dang it!
That's
I
war
knew
time.
this would happen. I regret everything.
So actually, if you want to make appropriate notes as to why you have those statuses with those factions on the faction sheet, somebody can be in charge of keeping those notes. Who wrote Pepsi and Fusroda?
I claim Fus Roda and Ulf in the rain
I wrote
caves.
Pepsi because someone said something about Diet Coke and Pepsi's.
Yeah, I said that they were like the Diet Coke Batman.
All right.
We
Plus, Pepsi
took
saves the
his
world,
home.
boys. You know that?
And the
So-
Lampblacks, we
Sorry.
Stole sword from. Or yeah. Dash. Oh. Someone's typing time.
So Matt, I have a quick question about how the friends / rivals work. So do I at some point do I just be like, Celine is my friend and she does this for me, or like how do I when does that come into play?
Yeah, I mean, so make a note of who you think she is if you have an idea.
Yeah, I know who I want both my people to be. Where do you want me to?
You can put it in the notes section on the bottom of your sheet.
Oh, if you scroll down farther, there's a notes section.
That's true. So, one place where we sort of skipped over last time because it was the first session, and we can easily skip over that again if you guys aren't feeling up to it, is sort of the gather information piece of the planning. So this is sort of how you are sort of working on developing your next score. So James, being the veteran here, do you have any kind of inclination as to where you want to go looking for your next score, or do you want to be? I mean, I've got some things I can set up if you.
Thinking maybe since we're friends with the tavern owner, try and maybe she wants us to smuggle in some pooch for her.
Okay.
I was gonna say if we really want to kind of try and keep playing the in the middle, or not in the middle game, but not pissing off too many important people, if anybody knows from the red sashes that we were the ones that took the sword, we may want to deal with the witnesses / tie up loose ends. Loose ends.
Well, I mean, Biddy was disguised for most of it, so.
Oh, okay. So we're good.
And
the rest of us weren't even here.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Never mind then.
So we're probably pretty good on that.
Yeah. Well, you were disguised as well as a.
Well, yeah. I mean, she had a facial disguise. She had a wig on and stuff. I still had my face.
Yeah.
So if anyone could give an accurate description of that, because I do have a scar and a crooked nose.
Right. So, who are you hitting up? You're hitting up the couriers. Esme?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is everyone good with that?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Minstrel's Mead is not far from your hunting grounds, but you kind of like to keep things spread out, and you head into the bar. It's a relatively quiet night. Most people are still on their shifts. You'd imagine for what passes as the twilight hours. The sun does rise on occasion. Um, just it's very irregular and usually cause for um, either consternation or celebration, depending on who you are.
Okay.
But yeah, it's dark out. The reason the lamp blacks are a gang is because they used to light all the lamps and keep them running. But the city has since turned to lightning powered lighting, so they
Mhm.
are sort of out of work and looking to sort of run their own illicit business.
Nice.
So Esme standing bar. There's a couple of regulars down at the end of the bar that you recognize, and she looks up. Oh, well, welcome. Can I?
Hey, Esme, you old hag.
Oh my goodness.
I may have forgot my coin purse again today.
Oh, it's going to be another one of those visits, is it? I'll.
But maybe I could do something in time if you need anything done.
I'll fetch the canal water for you if you don't mind. And she looks up and says, "Oh, you have new friends here."
Yeah, they can introduce themselves. I don't really know them that well.
So, uh, so you don't know the latest people you're trusting with your
They just bought in.
small enterprise. They just bought in. So did they buy in because they were friends of Biddy's, or friends of? Well, I would assume that the Thorn was already sort of.
Thorn was already in it. He just wasn't there for the last one.
Okay, so we got.
Well, this is Thorn. He's a Scotlander like me, although you wouldn't tell from his horrid accent. And these are Biddy's friends, so you might like them a bit better.
I like tip my hat a little bit and pull. Oh, the like I'm a freaky demon person from the north is I have like from the bottom of my eyes like dark black veins kind of like snake down my face. So I like kind of have a bandana that I wear to not make it super obvious.
Nice. So you're wearing the bandana right now.
Yeah, I have like a hat as well that I kind of like tip the rim down a little bit.
Okay. So you've got. Are you tall or?
I would say slightly above average height. I just put whereas like a heavy leather jacket.
So we got.
A little bit actually kind of like I don't know if you guys can see the picture that I uploaded, but it's pretty accurate to what I imagined him looking.
Oh yeah, that's the darkest dungeon.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Highwayman was exactly what I was picturing, but kind of like that, except would wear he has like a I don't know if anybody's seen like the Bloodborne, like the hats that they wear, the like pointed ones that kind of come down.
Yeah.
But wears one of those as well. He's like general to me. He doesn't seem like, from what you can see of like his eyes and his facial expression and everything, he doesn't seem to be dark or brooding. He just kind of doesn't really even acknowledge that the bandana's kind of there. Seems pretty like wide-eyed and just relaxed.
Engaging.
Yeah, engaging.
Okay. Layla, do you want to kind of describe yourself?
Okay, so I imagine her to be pretty charismatic. Very flirty personality, I would say. I guess, do you just want me to describe her looks, or not too sure?
No, I mean whatever you want to.
Describe her as if you were her.
Yeah, or, I
Okay.
mean, her demeanor, how she's approaching Esme right now.
Oh, okay. I guess she would be pretty open. I mean, I'd probably be more chipper if my throat wasn't feeling like
Sure.
8 million push pins, but
Okay.
Yeah, but typically she's pretty friendly, approachable, until you, I guess, get to really know her personality. It's kind of like a mask. So while on the outside she seems really like, I guess, friendly, but on the inside she's actually just kind of keeping mental notes on everything and everyone. So she's kind of extremely observant. And if you think you're going to slip something past her, she's probably already noticed it. Um,
I see paranoia trauma coming in your future.
so, so that's her character. She goes by Angel. I guess is her character. Um, I guess she's a leech character, right? So more of leaning on alchemy side, things like that. Uh, Possibly, like we stated earlier, bomb happy. um, let's see. I would say she's pretty flexible, I would say, with either gender because she needs the ins and outs of everything and kind of manipulates people to get what she wants.
Okay,
So.
fair enough. Um, sorry, I'm.
I guess going on the demeanor thing, because I had mentioned that the alias that I chose from is Harrier, and he almost seems to kind of like bounce a little bit with each step, a little bit like he's just in a good mood, but also like extremely confident. Um, and as he's when like other people are talking and he's just kind of you know there, like when the crew, other members of the crew are talking, he definitely seems to be taking everything in, but somebody would really have to like study him to notice the detail with which he like is noticing everything. I mean, like I am the Hound character book, whatever it's called. So if somebody's used to that kind of line of work, they would have an easier time realizing that he's kind of taking in everything from if somebody's left or right-handed to where they tend to sit in the room to everything else. But for everybody else, he kind of plays it off as a just relaxed observer, but extremely confident kind of persona.
Okay, cool. All right, so Esme says, "All right, well, it's nice to see you, lass. I'm sorry to see you with dark and mysterious over here, and the man with the face of an eel's ass, and oh yes, I think I recognize you from before. Mysterious over here, and the man with the face of an eel's ass, and
It's Thorn. It's a thorn on my side.
Oh, I haven't heard that one before.
Thorn, right? Yes, Thorn. Thorn, do you want to kind of describe yourself a little bit?
Sure. He's a bit shorter than average, kind of portly, I'd say. But he likes to be very well dressed, though he might not have worn his finest clothes to this kind of establishment. Just kind of gives off he has like a distant demeanor. He's kind of gives off the vibe of he's trying to figure out if any interactions are even worth his time here. Kind of not quite used to not being a noble and getting his way all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And just something while I'm thinking about it. You guys earn XP in very specific ways.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Each character earns XP by playing to their strengths. It's called out in your description or on your sheet. It tells you, so for instance, Thorn earns XP when he's addressing a challenge with calculation or conspiracy.
Mhm.
You also earn XP when, as a group, when punching above your weight, essentially. When you're challenging factions that are above you. So that's kind of the plays to the aspirational role that your crew is in. And
Yeah.
you also earn XP when you act in desperate situations. So
Okay.
that's kind of the general rule of thumb is take risks, have fun with it.
Yeah. Do you want like backstory now too, Matt, or do you want that later?
You can provide some now. We can weave it in later. Do whatever you want.
Okay. Since we kind of said that there may have been noble houses on the on Tyker. Okay, I'm Tykerosi. I'm from Tykeros. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Okay, and Tykeros, but they're either failing or gone.
Mhm.
So Harrier was he was never like he wasn't born into the noble family. He worked for one of them as kind of like protection for when one of the actual kids or whatever was kind of going someplace where they might need it. But he was always treated much better than he like quote unquote should have been for somebody of his station. And like invited to dinners and always dressed very nice and everything. Favored, but he was never really given any reason why. And then the reason that he is in the Duskfall.
Yep.
Duskfall is he was basically told that there was somebody there, an asset that he had to go and protect, and he would be told more when he arrived. He was basically just given whatever he needed and sent out and told that he wasn't to return. He was barred from returning until he had accomplished whatever it is this person needed of him. And wasn't really given much more than that. So he and his trained hunting pet Locke set off and just kind of same demeanor that he walks with, just looked at it as a new adventure and a challenge, and
So
hopped a rail car, I guess.
yeah, so he was kind of a courtier.
Yeah, but like I said, like treated way better than any of the other ones with no real explanation for why. He was just kind of chosen.
Well, yeah, courtier means that you're kind of on the inside, but
Yeah,
you might not necessarily have the noble heritage.
yeah.
Sure.
And so for my friend, I chose Celine. It says a sentinel. I have her down as somebody who's just kind of shown up to aid and save, and saving Harrier without giving any reason or accepting any pay or thanks. Just saying that she works to the same end that he does, and then kind of just piecing out, not really giving any context there. But so far, she's done nothing but help. And then for my enemy, I chose Melvir, who's Physiker. I just said for a group or organization / individual that I had to deal with, and spared him basically so that I would have somebody to help me dispose of people that I needed to dispose of. But recently he's seemed to kind of renege on the deal and regrow his backbone, and he's been much less eager to work with me. Almost bordering on like I might not be trusting him anymore.
Pretty much all the doctors, we hate them.
Yeah, as soon as you said that you chose it also, I was like, well, hope we don't need any medical attention.
Fair enough. And you've taken those notes down.
Yeah.
I'm leaving everybody in control of each other's character sheets, just so that you guys can poke and prod around.
Okay.
But please don't, obviously
Yeah.
mess with each other. But that's good. I like it. So.
And that is my hunting pet, because you said I could choose one that I wanted.
Oh boy. All right. That's fun. I like it. Cool.
Blah blah blah. This guy's all about his backstory. I've heard it like 10 times. I met him 2 hours ago. Don't worry about that, anything. He goes around, he's strong as canal water.
Yeah, for dark and mysterious, he talks a lot. She says, and she.
I pulled down the bandana a little bit to give her a smile, but like it almost seems like the smile goes just like a little bit too far up. Like
showing a little
Like
bit
you're
too
not,
much
like
teeth.
you're not sure like if it's just like the light or something or what, but it's a little bit unsettling.
It's
And then I
good.
just replace the bandana.
He's a great grandson of Jack Skellington.
I was thinking more of the Joker.
Fair enough. So Esme looks around and says, yeah, it's going to be canal water for all of you, or?
What is canal water?
She she says, oh, well, for you, I might have a little bit something that's a bit less swill, but, well, I haven't seen a lot of slugs come in my direction from your crew, and as fond as I am of Biddy and you, the lot of you, I do have a business to run.
Huh. Okay. Well, don't even worry about it. It's fine. Whatever you serve, I'm sure will be great. I just kind of like wink at her.
So I mentioned that your stash is kind of your ability to throw coin around.
Mhm.
In this case, if you want something that's going to ingratiate you to her, or her to you to her, that it would be a good idea to roll your essentially the whatchamacallit. Roll your stash, which I don't know if that's a thing that you can click on. Maybe not. No, it's not. Okay, so you could just make a fortune roll and put in that you get. So on the right hand side under your friends and rivals, there's a roll fortune, and you just add bonus die equal to, or it's essentially 0 unless you have a level of stash. So if somebody's offering to pay, which none of you are obligated to do, but if you want to
But I
pay
don't have any
Esme,
money, right? Because I can't.
I'm paying.
okay.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
Whoa. All right.
Big roller. Oh my.
Griffin spends the last of the coin that he got from his last
Oh jeez.
score. Spends the remainder of the slugs that he had to spread some love around. Griffin, the floor is yours.
There you go. That's the last I got, though. I ran into a little trouble after that last score.
She
Trying to
fans.
get something a little bit better than this swill.
She says, "Oh, Griffin, you are a doll." And she says, "Somebody actually paying me for my drink. That's a switch for you guys." And she pours out a few rounds of some decent-looking ale, and she looks to Angel and says, "And for you, lass, will it be ale, or would you care for something, perhaps some of the Aruvian wine I might have?"
I'll
It's
just
delicious.
sure. I'll have the wine.
Okay. So she serves you all and says, "This is quite a nice afternoon, I think, for a fine drink." And she pours herself a serving of the wine as well, and lifts a glass and toasts, and she says, "To the fine bluecoats that patrol our streets." And she gives
Cheers.
the lot of you a wink and takes a sip of her drink.
I ain't paying for your drink, though.
She she chuckles. She says, "No, of course not." So she looks back and forth along the bar. So I hear tell that you guys have been doing some business. One of you got taken in by the Bluecoats. I'm a little hazy on the details.
Hey,
I don't
Matt,
know anything about that.
Take it away, Thorn.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I was not there for that. As far as I know, it was just one of Griffin's friends.
Take
Hey,
it
Matt.
away, Demon Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Going downhill.
Okay,
so
well,
quickly.
before I was gonna say, while since I wasn't there for the last time, and I really have no contributions to make to this conversation right now. If I listen to like the rest of the bar, do I hear anybody like talking about us or like singling us out or like anything like that?
Mm, so another thing about the rules and the way this game is played is I might suggest what action you're trying to do, but
Okay.
you're the one that determines what action you're doing and what you roll.
Okay.
So, you might be trying to maybe survey the scene, or you
Mhm.
might be consorting with some of the other patrons, or I can only guess at what else you might do to see what is going on. But it's entirely up to you how you want to handle that. And if if you say I want to survey the room, then I give you kind of the parameters around that, and you roll. That's
Yeah,
how
I
it's
mean,
supposed to work.
yeah. The only things I have points in an insight are hunt and survey, and hunt is more like active, right? Like I'm literally hunting someone. It's not like I'm like just listening and everything, right?
Yeah, but that could be applied to a social situation where you are pressing somebody for information, albeit maybe not in a friendly manner.
Yeah. But in this case, I imagine it would be more of of like a general survey, not like I'm
Well, you can
listening to
also
like
choose to use whatever you want. Like you could use rec. Don't know how well that work.
If
Yeah.
you want, if you
Yeah,
want to
it's
use,
up to
if you
you.
want to use hunt, it's I would say that might be appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would roll that then. Because I mean, pretty much all I've been told is that like, there's these three groups. We screwed over one, and we really don't want word getting back to them. Like if we're all together, my concern would be that somebody's like, oh shit, isn't that the group? Or if I hear anybody in the bar kind of being singling us out or focusing too much on that,
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to know.
Um, yeah. So the way they describe hunt is, you're hunting a target, and you're gathering information about its location and movements. Is part of what hunting is. Otherwise,
Okay.
you're attacking with a precision shot.
Yeah. Okay, so it might be more
Surveying is understanding what's going on. You're sensing trouble before it happens. You're gathering information about opportunities or exploits.
Okay, yeah. So this would be a survey.
So you're trying to survey the room, see what else is going
Yeah.
on while Esme's talking.
Yeah, because when she says, so I hear this happened, like I wasn't there, I haven't been told much. I literally have nothing to contribute to the conversation, so I'm instead going to try and make sure that there's nothing sketchy going on with any of the other patrons or in relation to us.
Okay. So do you want to roll?
Yeah. How? I click it.
You click it, and then I give you the particulars.
Okay.
So in this case, it's, I'd say, it's probably a controlled position,
Okay.
and it would be standard effect.
Okay. And I get a bonus dice because I have a thing in it?
No.
No,
No. Okay.
but you can push yourself.
Yeah. So this is where I'd be like, so if you wanted to spill a drink on somebody and risk causing a bar fight, but in the doing so, somebody might you might overhear their conversation a little more closely.
Okay. So.
That would be
Fine.
devil's bargain.
Mhm.
Kind of not something I'm really looking to offer for this particular role, but
Yeah.
Aw.
So having
um,
the points in it.
but
What
you
is
can get a
that?
bonus die if you push yourself or if somebody aids you. Um, if you push yourself, you spend 2 stress. If somebody aids you, they spend 1 stress.
Okay.
But
Um,
you know,
yeah, I'm not really looking to push myself for it. So then what does having the like red dots in it help me with?
That's just how many dice it's gonna
That-
roll that base.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 dots, it'll
Okay.
just start off
Yeah.
rolling 2
You,
dice.
and you can roll
Okay.
any action you want. If you have 0 in something, it tell like you can see the fortune roll that was just rolled. The 0 dice is take the lowest result.
Okay.
It rolls 2 and you take the lowest. If you have 1, you roll 1 die. If you have 2, you roll 2 die. Okay, so you had a 1, you rolled 1 die. You got a 2.
Yeah. So I got a 2.
So Esme sees you kind of looking around and she's like, "What's the problem? Is my conversation not engaging enough for you?" And then she goes on and on about how disrespectful it is that you're looking around.
No, Esme. It's just that we don't like to stare at your troll face that much.
She she chuckles and says, "Well, it's a good thing I like looking at your eel's arse of a face."
Oh, Esme.
And kind of goes back to her work. But survey consequences for a bad survey. If it were sort of a more generic effect, I could say that maybe you were caught pretending. Maybe you
Yeah.
got lost in thought and somebody thought that you were trying to size up their lady or something.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
they might come trying to pick a fight. That's the kind of
Yeah. I
thing.
got you.
So you got a bad roll, but you got off easy this time because you came from a controlled position. This is home turf for you. This isn't a strange bar. Esme's your friend, so you're getting
Yeah.
off easy. Maybe take a stress because she was kind of upset with you, and you're trying to
Okay.
get in good with this crew.
I took 1.
Make sense?
Yes. Okay.
So I lost the thread on Esme. What were we doing with her?
She was asking about our last business venture.
Yep. And then were but you were pressing her for some information on something?
Yeah, I wanted to know if she's got any things she might need that a dashing like young crew like us could get for her.
Or if she knows anybody who might need our assistance.
I was talking to somebody. What was her name? I think it was Phoebe Anvil. Hard to forget a name like that, right?
I'll say.
Beautiful name.
Yeah. I rolled that one around on my tongue a few times, and yeah, she was having some real trouble with this member of the hive, I think it was. Anyways, he was a tradesman of some sort. I think he was maybe an apothecary. And anyways, I've got my regular hook, contacts for moving goods and such. And as much as I like you, I think I should be loyal to who I'm good with right now. But I could put you in touch with this Phoebe the next time she comes in. She might be looking for a little muscle if you guys are interested in doing some work maybe outside of your regular business.
We are very interested.
Oh, I'm very interested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Consider it.
Esme, she's single.
She winks. She says, "Well, maybe she will be after you do what you're supposed to do for her."
Ooh.
All right. Let her know that we're here offering our help.
She says, "You come back here tomorrow. I'll see if I can set up a meeting."
Sounds good to me.
All right. So fast forward a day. You guys wander in,
I'm
or
at the second day.
is anybody off doing other things, other errands, or you guys?
No, I mean, kind of keep an ear out, but other than that, not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, was there anything you guys wanted to do in the meantime? Think about other avenues to explore, or you guys good with
The
taking care?
Hive are like a big time group as far as we know, right? Like they're pretty well known.
Yeah. What do you know about the hive? The hive. The hive. Let me see. Mm, and I apologize. There are just a lot of factions.
That's fine.
So
I just know they're pretty high up on the faction.
they
list.
are. So they're a guild of merchants who, it's rumored they, well, it's not rumored. It's pretty well known that they trade in contraband, but their membership is pretty well hidden. So they might be, and their symbol is a golden bee, which is why they call them the hive of bees.
Okay.
And so they're, you know, rumored to trade in pretty much anything, including people, uh, Leviathan blood, derivatives thereof, which includes drugs and explosives and arcane mixtures, um, other drugs, um, scoblins, which they don't really consider people, that kind
Hey,
Rude. All right. So can I maybe roll consort to just kind of try to gather information around town about maybe what they're interested in this Phoebe anvil for? Um, find out if maybe there's another way to come at this job because these seem like not people I want to be on the bad side of.
So, hmm.
I sort of want to find out if there's a way we can help them, or if not, at least find out information about what's going on before we walk into this meeting.
Yeah, okay. So you're pressing people for kind of the lowdown on Phoebe and just kind of what her relationship to the hive might be.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
and if she's got any other relationships.
Right. So, what kind of role would you suppose that would be?
I'm thinking consort, and I'll go kind of. I don't know. It says you can use that to like ask your contacts and stuff.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll swing by and talk to my blue coat friend, see if he knows anything, or maybe I'll just hang out at the bar and just
Okay, you do have a blue coat friend.
mingle.
Yeah, and I'll give you a bonus die for that if you're pressing your blue coat for that.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. It's like not reacting when I click consort.
Hmm.
Try to close them. Oh, there's the box. Okay.
Yeah,
Risky position.
yeah, it goes in the window rather than popped out if you got it popped out. Um, yeah, we'll say risky.
Okay. Standard effect.
Hmm.
And one bonus die.
The risky reflects that you're not just talking to your blue coat friend, but
Right.
although you clicked controlled, but that's fine.
Oh,
Oh no, that's above.
risky.
Sorry, it's risky. Oh, you've got a 3 in consort.
I have a 2 at base, but you
2.
give me a
Yes,
bonus die.
gotcha. So you got a 5. Good.
Yes.
So, um, yeah, your blue coat friend looks at you a little funny and says, "What do you want to know about Phoebe Anvil?"
What's who is she? Why would the hive care about her?
Well, I can tell you that she's wrapped up in dealing some really nasty stuff. Um, she she's a drug dealer, obviously, but um, word is you go to her if you're desperate for a high, and you uh, may not be there in the morning. I mean, lots of people check out after what she does,
I'd say
what she
that bit.
provides. And, but she's also protected. I don't know the specifics, but I know that we're not really allowed to touch her.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you this because you're a friend, but that you asked me about her, I might have to pass that up the chain.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Are we there with him or it's just him?
I'm gonna probably guess it's just him, but
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would have gone on this solo.
Okay.
Well, maybe I leave this fine bottle of whiskey here, and you maybe forget we had this conversation.
okay. So you're trying to resist the consequence here?
Yeah, that's probably what I'd call it here.
Okay.
Would that be resolve, maybe? Or
This is sort of a social consequence, I would imagine. So
well, yeah, most of the social skills are under
yeah,
resolve.
yeah. So
So how does the resistance roll work?
so you click on resolve.
Yep.
And
No bonus dice. Got a 6.
there you go. He says, "All right, well, you're lucky I like you, really. Um, I'm gonna forget you ever mentioned her name. You're gonna forget you ever talked to me about her,
Yep.
and I'm gonna put this bottle to good use." And he tips his hat at you and turns away in a not unfriendly manner, but he's a little spooked.
You're a good man, Jaren. And then I will get out of there.
All right.
I will go tell the crew what I've found out.
Cool, cool. All right. So
What the hell? That was my bottle of whiskey.
so new
Yeah,
guys,
no,
are you starting to get a handle for how this is progressing,
Yeah.
how this is supposed to roll?
Kind
Yeah,
of.
I'm starting to get it more. I'm trying to transfer out of Pathfinder more into this. So.
Same.
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely a switch for a lot of people. And there's sort of the way the system is supposed to flow is it goes from we're in sort of the free play session, which is where we're doing character scenes and we're gathering
Mhm.
information. You're choosing a target, you're choosing a plan, and then we progress into kind of like, okay, we're engaging with the score. We're gonna roll an engagement roll, and then we're gonna do the score, and then we're gonna process the
Yeah.
downtime after the score, and the downtime kind of rolls into the free play.
Also, the thing about the score is like you're kind of like once it starts, like you're in the middle of the thing.
Yeah,
Like you're not like you don't have to be like, whoa, let's start walking towards the area or something.
yeah. So once you
Yeah.
choose a target and you kind of choose the approach of how you're gonna get to the target, I just throw you into the scene, and you
Mhm.
guys are like, okay, well, we're there. Like, it's not like, okay, well, I'm gonna kind of scope the place out for a few hours, and then I'm gonna kind of roll in this way. It's like, no, you're there. Somebody's
Deal
picking a
with it.
lock.
Yeah.
Somebody's already in the masquerade ball, dancing
Yeah.
with a friend, and then like how you handle preparation at that point is you do flashbacks, and you say, okay, well, I want to do a flashback where I would hide a gun underneath the table so that I can pull that out and
Yeah, I got you.
yeah. So that's how preparation is handled. Um, so um, so this is the free play portion, and you guys are again gathering information and moving in, zeroing in on your target and what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
So we don't know where Phoebe is, right? We just know that some alchemist is putting pressure on her, and that alchemist is from the hive.
right. So let's see. For your consort, you got a 5. So I'll say that not from your blue coat friend, but from maybe another, just drinking buddy, um, who had heard about her and her kind of risky chemical situation, is that you get a name of Eberhard Rummler.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll spell that for you. Um, and that's all he really knows is that there was some mix up between the two, and he's really not even supposed to know that name, so he'd appreciate you keeping quiet about it.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I don't really think that I have anything that I can super do right here.
Yeah, so I'll pass all the information I've found out off to the crew when we're back at the hideout that night before we go to the meeting.
Okay.
Interesting that she's so well protected. The bluecoats are afraid to go near her, and yet she's being pressured by the hive thing, which means her protection probably comes from somewhere else. They would have revoked it by now.
Yeah, probably.
It's good
Fair
inference.
bet. Do we really want to get mixed up with this person?
Well,
Oh, I want to get more than mixed up.
Well, that's not surprising, but
Plus, I love a good fight. Been ages.
Okay, so I'm picturing this is
I
late night
I like
after the same night.
you when you say that.
I'm picturing this is late night after the same meeting with Esme, right? Same day. You guys are
yeah.
sitting around, maybe in the canal station.
Yeah, I would
Sounds
guess
about
so. So yeah.
Looks like we're losing Esther.
Did we lose Esther?
She's posting in the Discord chat.
She said the cold medicine just kicked in something hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
She said she was just gonna swing out, but
no problem.
yeah, but I mean, when you bring up the point of the hive is a big, big player. If it was just, if the only players were us and the hive, I'd say going up against them would be a bad idea. But there's also the third party, and if going against the hive maybe protect something that they like protecting, then maybe we get a little bit of good spotlight out of that as well.
That's true. We don't know who's offering her protection, but somebody is. So that's a good point.
Doesn't matter how much they actually value her. Either one, they value her very little, and as far as they're concerned, we spared them an annoyance of having to actually follow on said protection, which, in my experience, the higher ups tend to appreciate much more than it's actually worth. Or two, she's very important, and in that case, well, pays itself.
That's fair. Yeah, it can't hurt to at least meet with her. So we should definitely go through with the meeting tomorrow.
So that's consensus. Get some sleep and
Yeah.
go through with the meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the night turns into night again, and you arrive at the appointed time for the meeting. by the way, there's some like really like lore-driven stuff about the telling of the hours in this setting, which I'll see if I can find it while we set this up. But yeah, so you arrive at the back at the bar the next afternoon, and Esme gives you a shrewd look and beckons you down to the corner of the bar where you weren't like where it's kind of out of earshot for everybody else. She steps around the counter to talk to you. She says, "Listen, I wasn't really, I probably shouldn't have mentioned her by name yesterday, but so if you could maybe say that I didn't, that would be wonderful. But yeah, she said she'd be here maybe in the next hour or so. Just play it cool. I think she's good people. I've heard a couple people vouch for her, but I also know things get dangerous and escalate pretty quickly when she's involved."
Well, I might be convinced to not mention that you told us anything if I could get a bottle of whiskey.
She says, "A bottle of canal water. You got it." She comes back with we'll say it's a half empty bottle of reasonably priced whiskey, and sets it on the table with 3 glasses.
Oh, no, they're not true. That's all for me.
She says, "You play nice with your new friends."
Hey, this one over here sold my last bottle. Don't even know what for.
That was my bottle. It was far higher quality than anything you've ever had.
Listen, all bottles of any drugs we have, they're mine.
It wasn't drugs, it was whiskey.
All right. Yeah, whiskey. I mean, that's a staple. It's not a drug.
It's a
One of
drug.
the 4 basic food groups.
That's right. Cool. So you guys just kind of linger around and drink your whiskey while you wait.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
I mean,
I want to see if anyone knows about like, so she's being threatened, I guess, by the hive, right?
Well, it sounds like that Esme knows that there's a tradesman that she's not particularly fond of. That's about the extent of it.
happens to
Okay.
be
I want to
Amber
know.
Heard.
I want to see if anyone knows anything more about the Eberhard guy. Maybe how I could, put the hurt on him if need be. Not just physically, but like maybe if he's in some dire straits or.
So you can ask around the bar to the local patrons what they know about Eberhard Remler.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that they might not be wanting to talk very much, so I'm not going to be nicely asking. It's more just like an intimidation, like tell me what you know.
Okay. So what's that sound like to you?
Like either command or sway. Maybe sway more. I don't know, because I feel like if I command, I might start a fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just do sway.
So that's
Just
like
need-
charm or luck or deception.
Okay.
Like command is force of your personality or intimidation.
Okay, then I'll do command.
Okay.
And what position? Controlled or?
I'd say
Because
this
we're
is
still-
risky because this is a nice local bar, but you've caught a whiff of there's something more to what's going on here. And the hive are people not to be fucked with.
Okay, standard effect or
Yeah, standard effect.
I'm gonna take some stress for a bonus die. Because I feel like after that double six, I'm gonna roll real low.
Okay. Wow. You got
Or not.
a critical. I think that's our first critical.
There you go.
All right. So, all right. This is an interesting one. So we'll say that just so happens one of the first people you bump into, Weasley-looking guy, and he says, "Well, so what? I don't know anything about Mr. Rumler. No, he's a real stand-up guy, and you push and you prod, and he's like, oh well, this is not I can't really say much about him. He's really you know someone I don't think it's really something I should get into, with the hive and all. And he starts to let out these little clues and these little inferences, and eventually you trap him into like a corner where he's like, okay, yes, I'm sorry, you're right, I'm being evasive. It's just this guy's he's not a low man on the totem pole in the hive. He knows something, and he's he's a go-getter. He's a mover. He's a shaker, and I think he's well, he's not always a straight shooter, and I think that's uh, if he's had some dealings with um, with uh, Miss Anvil. Well, I think it was bound to draw some attention to him and to the hive, and I think it's all something they'd really rather get get solved relatively quickly. I'm sure that the people in the hive, they're really not looking for. Well, I hear they're actually calling out a hit on somebody. I don't know if it's Miss Anvil or one of her associates, but they're sending a message with this one.
Well, thank you for all the information.
Do the rest of us see this
Uh,
conversation? Like, or at least who he's talking to?
I would guess that you see that he's backed some squirrely looking guy into a corner and is pressing it, and like the guy's just like flipping out as he's saying these
Okay.
things, sweating, wiping his brow.
Yeah, I make sure to note if the guy that he's pressing leaves the bar.
Okay. And he does. I mean, like immediately, but that it may just be because he's freaked out about the presence
Does
of the person who just
Yeah,
pressing.
but does anybody in the bar who may have noticed the conversation leave after that guy?
No.
Okay.
So I found out some interesting things. Apparently, this Eberhard is pretty high up in the hive, dealing with Phoebe, and the hive might be putting out a hit on her. Although he wouldn't be doing it himself. He's not a very straight shooter, so I assume they'll get someone with better aim.
Hmm. Well, your and I kind of like motioned to where the guy just scurried out. I said, your new ace informant mentioned when this hit might be going down.
No, he just said that they wanted to take care of Phoebe for bringing attention to the hive.
And when is she supposed to be meeting us, Matt? Like, is it about time or?
Yeah, it's getting pretty close.
I say we take her out for him.
Easy. We're not getting paid for that.
I just really need to get some real action going. Tired of sitting around here.
Well, it sounds like either way, we're gonna get some action. So, you know,
It's true. Harry's kind of like bouncing, not like bouncing, but kind of shifting one foot to another. And he says, you know, true, if the hive wants to be gone and we get her gone, you know, maybe they like that. Maybe they don't like that we took away their, you know, chance to make an example of somebody they don't like. Or maybe they want everybody involved off the table, including those who carried it out. Whether that's us or whether that's some other poor, you know, group of saps.
we don't even know if they're gonna put the hit out on her. They could just want, you know, one of her associates.
True, would make more sense. I doubt whoever is protecting her is so generous as to extend the offer to every acquaintance, friend, and family member.
Exactly.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see, assuming that we're wrong, that we aren't wrong, and the hit wasn't on Phoebe and earlier today.
Well, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then we're just kind of too late to get involved in this job.
Okay. So what's the plan of action here? You gonna continue to wait?
I think so.
Okay.
Did we
I'm
get a
gonna chug
physical
the rest of the
description
bottle.
of Phoebe or no?
You didn't.
Okay, then yeah.
All right. Sorry, just one second. I'm gonna get the hang of this. There's a lot of things that I like to refer to during this. So here we go. All right. So when you when you step into the or when you see her step into the room, she's got a she looks kind of tall. She's got one of those tri-corner hats on.
Mm-hmm.
She's got long
Okay.
black hair tied back into a braid. Hangs about to the middle of her back, and along with the tri-corner hat, she's got the wool suit to go with it, if you will, and a long skirt down to the tops of down to her ankles, and she's got these black boots on that she's wearing, and could be just another patron. She looks around, and Esme kind of nods over in your direction when she makes eye contact with the woman, and then the woman redirects her sort of commanding stare at the three of you and steps in your direction. In a low voice, she takes off her hat and says, "I heard maybe you were looking for me."
Maybe. Who are you?
"My apologies. I'm Phoebe Anvil."
No shit. My name's Phoebe as well.
"Is it?"
No,
Ah.
no, really. I'm just fucking with you.
She crosses her arms and, with a kind of a warm smile, gives Esme another nod, who scurries over with a glass of wine for the woman. And says, "Yes, so I don't mean to dispense with small talk so quickly, but in my mind, the less time I can be seen in public with those who might be doing some dirty work, the better."
Understandable. So let's get down to business.
Well, I Esme says you are straightforward and to be trusted, and well, I'm running out of people to trust, so I'm going to take that on faith. For a little bit of time, I was doing business with a man named Eberhard Rumler, and the business obviously turned sour, which is why I'm talking to you. I would prefer to get him out of the picture.
As she says this, I kind of like lean forward a little bit and say, tends to fall a little bit into my area of expertise. And how permanent would we like Mr. Rumler's vacation to be?
Oh, well, the most permanent. I don't expect you to make a deal with any sort of demon to keep him from coming back, but certainly the mortal methods will do.
Nash, you're already making a deal with it.
So yeah, when she says, "I don't expect you to make a deal with a demon," I kind of pull down the bandana and flash the smile again, which again seems just like it creeps a little bit too far up his face. It doesn't show any teeth, but it says, "Oh, Miss Anvil, we're not the ones making a deal with a demon." And then I just kind of give her like a genuinely like kind of like charming wink, and then you can pull the bandana back up.
She suppresses a shudder and sips her wine. Says, "So you fancy yourselves couriers? Is that what I hear?"
That's our area of expertise.
But we'll do a little this and that.
It's fair.
Indeed. Have you ever heard of the Comer bathhouses? Do you perhaps deliver there on occasion?
We could
Well,
deliver to just about anywhere in the city.
there would be a good deal of coin in it for you if you were to deliver my request to the Comer bathhouses, where I think Eberhard Rumler spends a good deal of his time. It seems there's a few attendants there that he's taken a shining to.
I say, these. Is this like? I imagine that if he's going there, this is not like a bathhouse that any of us would have been to, right, Matt?
It's probably a little bit out of your
Yeah.
price range. It's certainly something you've heard of. It's not super fancy, but it is in one of the fancier places in town. It's actually
Don't worry, I got that fortune roll on lock.
Yeah, so it's actually in Night Market, but it's in a nicer part of Night Market. So
Yeah.
Isn't every market a night market?
In
Technically.
this city, yes. So, is there any specific cargo we're bringing, or is it just a message?
I believe the cargo is the message, sir,
Yep.
and that is to get him, let's say, moved on to his next venture.
No, you're gonna have to make the message a bit shorter than that. I've only got 10 fingers to work with.
I can explain it to him.
Fair enough. Says, well, I believe you'll find my terms satisfactory, and she passes a note across, which amounts to 5 coin.
All right.
You know, I heard the hive was out a hit on someone associated with you. we could just take that hit for them. Maybe you should convince us otherwise with a bit more gold.
Says, well, if I were of the persuasion to say that you are not straight dealers and to, well, let's say I know that I may be running out of friends who deal on such a low level, but there are people who might be able I might be able to persuade to come down here and say take a look around and oh well, you know, the smugglers are notorious for evading the taxes of this fine city, and it would be a shame for the tax collector to start to take a deeper look into the dealings of the Canal Street couriers.
Oh yeah, no, nobody here wants any of that, and please do not
See.
listen to
I,
to this one here.
no, no, no. Not that we would, we wouldn't be taking this the extra coin not to convince us not to take this hit. Just personal protection for your upstanding person. The streets are very dangerous at night for, as you said, the low people such as us, and we haven't done so much to piss off somebody with as much influence as the Hive. Wouldn't want you not making it home, Miss Anvil.
Veiled threats being what they may, your
Genuine offer of protection, thank you. And I look hurt.
your rather ugly and stunted characters being what they may, I could be persuaded to part with a slight bit more. If
She says stunted. I kind of look at Maximilian and go, a little small, sharp, but stunted is cruel.
I could be persuaded to part with a little bit more coin, if you were to do this with the utmost discretion. And then she slides another piece of paper across, which amounts to one more coin, 6 coin for the job.
So, yeah, I'm sure that can be arranged, Miss Anvil. I, however, was being sincere and was not veiling any threats. It is, if this hit is on you, even if I were not the good Samaritan that I am, wishing to see you home safely, if the hit goes out, we take care of the target, and our employer is dead. Bad for business. It was a legitimate offer. Could not sleep at night knowing that something could have happened to you.
Should I need transport to or from the city, I will keep you in mind. I may run afoul of some interesting interests if I were to try and move my operations. But let's leave that discussion for another time, because I feel you must earn my trust before I can offer such a position of protection.
But of course. Simply hope that you have your tricks for keeping yourself safe until we can handle this matter.
She nods. She says, "I will leave payment with Esme, and she will deliver it unto you with upon word that I have accepted the results of your venture."
Mm-hmm. And this message that we're sending to Mr. Rumbler, discreet, or, and I like kind of give her like a little bit more of a darker look, and I say, message is it that you're looking for?
The message is for Mr. Rumler. I have no doubt that his associates will undoubtedly hear the message as well. Discreet or not, I need him to hear it.
I'm sure that they will hear him.
Loud and clear, lass.
All right. Fair enough. So I think we're sort of ready to get into the engagement role portion of this.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I personally can keep going, but I also know Desmond just got here.
Desmond just got here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, Bill Cosby?
Huh.
Hey.
Hey, man. What's going on?
I don't know. I'm a little confused, but
It's all right.
other than that,
Yeah, that voice earlier, that was also me. We don't have an extra person. You don't have to be confused. No, it's really convincing.
Yeah, so we've got a few more playbooks taken. The Lurk and the Whisper. We don't have either of those yet, or we can
I
double
think
up.
we both know which one you have to be, Desmond.
Whisper.
Not only because of obvious reasons, but because then you will be Amadorn, and guess who chose the Hound? So literally, we will have Mathic and Amadorn reunited again.
yeah, I think I have to do that. But
All right. So I think what I can do is get Desmond started on his character tonight, but I don't know that I have enough time to actually go through a score tonight. Especially if we want to do the score and the aftermath. So
Yeah, that's fine. I gotta work in the morning anyways.
yeah, tomorrow's an early day for me. Otherwise, I would be down for staying up super late. If you guys want to stick around and help Desmond along with sort of the backstory and what we're doing, that's cool. If you want to get up to bed, that's cool as well. But probably a good place to call it, sort of just before the engagement roll, where we're ready to go with the bathhouse assassination, as we're calling it, for the Canal Street Couriers. So yeah, it's really not a good place to dole out XP at this point. Although you guys have been doing some actually really good role playing, which is nice. But we'll recall that. Hopefully, we can get another night in this week to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I should be around tomorrow or Wednesday night. People will be around.
Okay.
Yeah, I can probably do that.
Same.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll tentatively pencil you guys in for tomorrow night, because that's our normal night for the other group, and I don't know. Rustin and Desiree have been kind of fickle with joining anyway, so that might work out pretty well. Cool. So stick around if you want. Otherwise, have a good night. Desmond,
yeah,
do you want to do
Night,
it?
guys.
You want to?
I'm heading out.
Peace.
Dude.
Night. Desmond, you want to do this? You want to pick one of these
You
guys?
know what you must do.
oh yeah, I do.
Okay. So, I mean, honestly, the Lurk or the Whisper both strike me as Amdorn, but
We both know which one he is more close to.
That does sound like fun.
Okay. So the flavor for this is that as a like it, the setting, the default setting includes spirits / ghosts and vampires, but we're just doing like a find replace for those with demons. We're just calling everything demons. So that the Whisper is talking to demons and communing with demons to do their bidding and all that
Hey,
fun
Matt.
stuff. Yeah.
I have a question. So I start with the Spirit Bane charm,
Mhm.
but what doesn't tell me what that does. Is that just like a spirits are less likely to like spook me?
Yeah. Um, so I've got a description of it I can find here real quick. Let me see. Small arcane trinket that demons prefer to avoid. That's all it
Oh,
says.
okay. So yeah, they are less likely to spook me.
Um, yeah. So just to kind of walk you through standard character creation, if you've got the Whisper sheet open, it's yours. Feel free to customize it as you choose on
Um,
the bio
well,
and stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking.
Yep. Oh, you don't have the link.
No, I don't.
That would help.
Is it farther up in this chat?
It might be.
Yeah, it is
Um,
kind of far, wasn't it? Or was it the other chat?
It might be the other chat.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
it's in our chat.
Yeah.
It's actually like literally the first thing.
oh, okay. Okay, I see it. Yeah. Found it. Join game.
So have you played Dishonored, Desmond?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
It's essentially set in Dunwall.
So this is Duskwall.
Duskfall.
Duskfall, according to some.
That's pretty pretty creative.
Yeah. And stop me if you've heard this, but the city runs on
Wales.
the blood of leviathans / whales. So there's a electric barrier that surrounds the city. Beyond the barrier is the Deadlands where demons dwell, and the lightning keeps the demons out. The city is connected to the rest of the Imperial Empire by um, electric rail, which the railjacks run, and the railjacks, stand on top of the trains and fend off demons with their electric hooks.
Fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And the the nice the noble houses of Duskwall each send out a ship that goes out and hunts the leviathans that they can then drain the blood to power the generators that power the lights and the electric barriers and the luminescent farms that run off over in this area of the city.
Okay.
And this is where the jail is, by the way, Ironhook Jail. Most of the action so far has been centered around Crow's Foot, which is this area over here. That's why the red uh, crossed swords is over here. This little area highlighted right here is sort of the main hunting grounds, if you will, for the crew that has been established thus far. And the crew is the Canal Street Couriers. And I'm actually considering running 2 crews for you guys and letting you kind of bounce back and forth between them as you see fit.
In the same city?
Yeah, in the same city.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, but we'll see how deep we get into this. But for now, you're part of the Canal Street Couriers. So you can open up that sheet, and it tells you all about the crew, what kind of reputation they have. They've got a little bit of heat. They've got a little bit of coin. They've got a hidden lair that has some quarters in it, so you don't have to sleep in your own apartment or wherever you happen to sleep. You're going to start with no coin. That means that you bought in to the crew, and you spent your last bit of money to get in to help establish the crew or what have you. What else? So so Nate is the
Um,
hound. You want to tell us a little bit about Harrier?
Yeah. I am. So,
Takarosi?
I like your.
yeah, I am Taikarosi, which is they're essentially like they're kind of like demon people. You said right, Matt? They're
Yeah,
north
half
of
demons is what they're
Akaros.
rumored to be. Yeah.
Yeah. They used to have a slew of like noble houses, kind of like the rest of the other continents, but they've slowly been in decline. Harrier was a courtier for one of the few noble houses that are left. He was treated way above his position. He himself isn't noble born, but he was always favored by the family that he worked with. Treated almost like a son, but without any real context as to why he was, why they treat him that way. He was used for protection. He would do the dirty work if he needed to. If somebody needed to be silenced or intimidated, hunting, the works like that. And eventually, they basically said that they had a person of extreme importance to the house in Duskfall, and that Harrier was to go there and basically just do, if this person said jump, Harrier said how high, until whatever kind of like plans and machinations this person had in motion restored the noble house to the glory that it should be at. And he was sent on his way to Duskfall, along with his trained hunting pet.
Trade
yes.
hunting pet, of course, yeah.
Yeah, dude, Ragnarok. And he has since joined up with the crew.
And James, you want to kind of go over yours?
Yeah, I'm from Scotland, which is apparently we're not people.
The Scoutlanders are kind of the last to be subjugated by the Imperium. And
Yeah,
So yeah,
they're kind
there was
of
a recent war,
they're marginalized.
and I came over from Scotland basically just trying to make a name for myself. Because I grew up on the streets, pretty much just doing anything I could to survive. So I'm kind of used to pretty much everything we've been doing and that we're going to get into. And I figured why not make some coin while I'm at.
Cool. All right.
I guess the other thing that I forgot to mention is my like half demon kind of heritage thing is that from the bottom of my eyes I have like dark black, almost like purple veins that snake down my face. And if anybody sees them without the bandana on, they go from like almost like when somebody has really heavy bags under their eyes, like those veins are the ones I'm talking about. They snake down his face and then go down his neck as well. I guess the assumption would be that they trace along other parts of his body, but he generally wears a bandana up so that you can't see them. And when it's down, you can only see the ones that are on his face and neck sometimes.
Kind of a spooky dude.
And he's got a creepy ass smile.
Oh yeah, and I mean he walks like he kind of like bounces when he walks. He's an extremely like open but confident personality. Although somebody who's kind of used to the line of work that we're in can see that that's kind of a front for the amount of like study and like kind of predatorial detail he takes in from people. And yeah, when he smiles, it like almost is one of those things where it could just be like the way you saw it was funny, or like the way that the light was on his face kind of made it odd. But when he puts like a really big smile, it seems to creep just like a little bit too far up his face, just to make it like it's a little bit unsettling when you like if you notice it or it catches you off guard.
Real creepy
All right.
dude. Yep.
Yeah.
He's very nice. He's a very nice, open dude. He just happens to be part demon.
Yeah.
Oh, and here, if you want a picture of definitely not Caragor, that's it right there.
So I'll take you over to the general map here of where everything lies. So Akaros is sort of the main island that you're on. The south of Akaros is the Imperial City, and South Point and all that. And the northern part is Duskfall, and it's sort of a generally European flavor of people who are from Akaros. Going south, you'll see Eruvia, which is sort of more of the Persian, Egyptian, Indian influence. There's definitely deserts on the Eruvian Isles. And then to the west of that are the Dagger Isles. These are people who grow up on ships and they travel a lot, and they're corsairs and merchants, and it's rumored that they exist outside of the lightning barriers for quite a while. So people aren't really sure how to deal with that. And then there's Severos, which is sort of the wilds. These are people from nomadic horse tribes scattered around, and typically they hide from the demons in these arcane fortresses which repel them. And so again, outside of the lightning barriers. And then there's Scotland in the northwest, which is where, again, the 36-year war, the Unity War, they call it, happened. And the Scotlands are where most of the refugees have come from. They're marginalized, and a lot of people have come there from there seeking new opportunities in Duskfall. And to the north, across what they call the Void Sea, there's Tycheros, and the Tycherosi are said to be half demons, and that most of them have that
My people.
some kind of telltale, like they might have black shark eyes or feathers instead of hair or whatever. So they're think kind of tiefling sort of esque.
Yeah.
That's my jam. That's why I took him.
Yeah.
Tiefling is like my favorite race in any like Pathfinder, D&D, etc.
Yeah, I like tieflings too.
If I didn't realize that we all got a freebie when I first joined your campaign, I was going to be a tiefling. But it was like, we're gonna go with classic, and I was like, okay, I'll be a half elf. And it was like, this is a cat person. And I was like, damn it.
Wait, we got a freebie? What was mine? I don't think I got one.
No.
Yeah, man, me and you got screwed.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, I can teleport now, so.
Yeah,
I got
actually, it's true.
screwed too. Matt wouldn't let us be monks.
Yeah, I said no monks, and
That's okay. Matt let me be a monk in his 5e, except it was like, and Desiree was like, I'm part dragon. And I was like, I think I'll be a monk. And Matt was like, I don't really know if we can roll that into, I don't, no.
roll the dragon,
as
but,
the
the
dragon woman
monk.
is sitting next to like,
yeah.
I know you have a dislike of monks, Matt.
I do a strong dislike. So, all right. So,
Monks are cool.
yeah. So, kind of choose your heritage is the first step. So, Akaros, Dagger Isles, Eruvia, Severos, Scotland, or Tycheros are kind of your choices.
Could we go back to the map?
Uh,
Yes, I'm gonna make you work. The thing that kind of appealed to me, just by the name, is Mistport on Eruvia. It's kind of like way at the end of a long electro rail.
no. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. There's only
What
one monk in this
Is
place.
that kind of part of those, the Dagger Islands, or is it just kind of like regular Eruvia?
You could be half and half. I think it's part of regular Eruvia, but maybe not.
Well, I was thinking because you said the people from the Dagger Isles kind of go outside the, what are they called?
The lightning fences.
Yeah. So maybe that's where the whisper part of me came from.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I had some kind of
How very Amador. Please don't do that. I'm gonna do it, and then something supernatural happens to you.
yeah. And I went to the Mistfire for what
Yeah.
seemed
Amador,
like
don't
2 minutes,
fucking
but
read the
was
scrolls. Reads the
was
scrolls.
4 months.
Yeah. So you okay? Yeah, Mistport, Land of Mystery, and you're learning from the people of the Dagger Isles. I like it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
By the way, the guy who designed this game designed another game where you basically just play the railjacks and like you ride the electric train.
And just beat up demons all day.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
amazing.
sounds like a pretty good kind of lay back and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. So you're saying you're primarily a Ruvian, but with some Dagger Isles in there, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. And by the way, the loose sketches that I give you of these backgrounds and whatever, that's all there is really. That's canon. So like
Yeah.
you're free to take off with it and go, do what you want with it. Um, it's sort of this is
I took
very
the
much a
guy.
shared narrative game. So
Yeah. Cool.
you guys have a lot of agency to do that sort of thing.
Hey Matt.
Yep.
Quick question, like about what we played tonight. How accepted is my trained hunting pet? Like, I realize that I'm weird because I'm a fucking half demon, but like, people
Yeah,
like, what the fuck is that? Like,
I mean, Ragnarok has these weird spike things coming out of his mane.
yeah, you probably want to keep him at home when you're not actually hunting someone or something.
mhm,
That's my 2 cents on
yeah.
that. Yeah. I mean, how would you react to that walking into a tavern that you were sitting in?
No, well, I mean, like, I don't know. It's a different.
I
I
know.
mean, I understand it's like high fantasy, but like,
It's not high fantasy. This is kind of
Dark fantasy.
dark
Almost.
fantasy, yeah. And besides, even in high fantasy, a dragon whelp walks into a bar, people are gonna stand up and notice.
yeah.
Probably try to beat it out.
Um, okay, so
Sorry,
next
I
is
just want to say, I'm reading this character sheet, and the first special ability is compel. The last line is, "You're not supernaturally terrified by a demon you summon or compel, but in brackets, though your allies might be."
Yeah.
That's I like that. It's pretty
Um,
funny.
Hey, it's my people. I'd be totally fine with it.
yeah. So you only get one special ability to start with,
Yeah, I figured by looking at the other sheets there.
but
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you're saying something. What was next?
yeah. So well, next is choosing a background. So it's the suggestions they have are academic, labor, law, trade, military, noble, or underworld. Um, going on what you were going with for your backstory, I could see academic, labor, law, trade, military, noble, pretty much anything. So
Yeah, I was thinking academic.
okay.
Most sense.
So to kind of expand on that, are you a scholar? Are you a student? Are you a philosopher? Are you a just a creepy dude
Cultist.
with a cultist with a book? A creepy book that you carry around under your
I can see the ideas coming in now.
yeah.
So I like the idea of being a student and then that unknown event name happening when I was in the Dagger Isles.
Okay.
So, and then maybe I was like a student. I don't know, what are normal things to study in this world? Same as here, or
You could be
same
a
as
naturalist maybe.
yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, you don't need to decide now, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the direction those things go.
You could be studying while all the ghosts and vampires disappeared from the world.
It disappeared.
um, They didn't disappear. They just have been found and replaced.
Oh yeah, okay, I get it. Sorry, I'm a little slow right now.
Yeah, no. James is a wise ass. So. Also, James, this is Desmond. Desmond, this is James.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh yeah, I just had to throw one in.
So,
Desmond's part of the Moose Patrol.
yeah. All right. Next is you assign 4 action dots. So you've already got 3 assigned. You've got 1 in study and 2 in attune. On the right hand side. So all these are actions, and they roll up to an attribute: insight, prowess, or resolve.
Yeah.
So for every 1 that you invest a dot in, like so there's a line going down the left hand
Yeah.
side that rolls up to, like, you total that up, and that equals your insight, your prowess, or your resolve. So you've currently got a 1 in insight and a 1 in resolve. Those are how you resist the consequences, like resist harm to you, based upon those things. So if you are good at skirmishing and good at wrecking things and good at dodging around with your finesse, so you have a 1 in each of those, that would give you a 3 prowess. Just kind of laying that out. So you can have up to a 2 in anything right now, and you have 4 to assign just at your own choosing. So however you
Oh, so 4 on top of this?
yep, 4 on top of that.
Oh,
And I've got a handy dandy sheet I can point you to that
explains what they do.
yeah, you get that up here.
Oh, there's a handout of the map. I guess I could have looked at that instead of asking.
Yes.
Well, now I know. Okay, cool.
So that gives you what all the actions do, if they aren't already self-explanatory.
Yeah. Well, some of them I was a little curious.
And having a 0 doesn't necessarily mean you're a complete idiot at doing anything. It just like it's assumed that you're sort of a person that is used to skulking around in the underworld. So
Yeah. Three and
are you good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Those attributes, by the way, they each have their own experience tracker, which is those little hash marks next
Oh,
to.
this little
Yeah.
thing, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. What that means is every time you attempt a desperate action in that category, you get a experience marker for that. You can also train in these in your downtime, and then once you fill one of those up, then you can assign an action dot to those to an action in that category.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Cool. All right. Next is the special ability. So compel
Assuming just
is the first one listed is usually sort of like the default. Like if you're not sure what to pick that one. But if one speaks to you, by all means pick one.
The second one reminds me of the game that Dom ran, where I was just talking to the dead
True.
every time I could.
Yeah.
So,
So you said for a veteran special ability, you can take one from someone else's playbook.
Yes. Is that
Okay, I'm totally gonna be taking that Tempest one. Whenever I can do that.
right?
yeah, that sounds pretty cool, but I don't want to fight stuff. I want to summon demons to fight stuff for me. The ritual one, does that begin with one ritual? So are rituals just kind of like the same idea as rituals in Pathfinder D&D, where it's just like a long spell that you do to have some effect?
Kind of. You start with one. Well, there's one that it's sort of suggested you start with anyway. Let me see. Let me find it. So, so there's a couple that they suggest. Let's see. Hang on.
'Cause it says I can study or create a new ritual to summon a supernatural effect or being. So,
Yeah. So. So the questions I'm supposed to ask you about rituals is like, what does the ritual do and how is it weird? And then you ask me, what do you do to perform the ritual and what's it cost? And then I ask, what new belief or fear does knowledge of this ritual and its attendant occult forces instill in you?
huh.
So, there's obviously consequences to just learning these things, but so
But they do some pretty crazy shit, I'm assuming.
yeah, so one sample is Ghost Map, which the ritual enchants a specially prepared map so it reveals the position of all spirits across the district. An individual spirit may be studied on a map to glean some details about it. The caster takes 4 stress when it's performed. Or Portal to the Depths. An ancient song calls upon the power of leviathans to open a small gateway to the great void sea, somewhere within a few blocks of the ritual site. Anything caught near the portal is swamped by cold black water and drawn with hideous strength into the abyss. The ritual is very dangerous, involving arcane contact with a leviathan's demonic power. So it's a desperate action roll.
I like the idea that you literally just nuke the fucking house that we have to go into.
The caster takes 6 stress and takes a 4-segment progress clock, seduced by the Leviathan song. So, just run-of-the-mill stuff.
I mean, I think that we found the one that he's taking because, like, come on.
But I don't know, because I also want to kind of command demons to come out of the demon field nearby and do something for me.
You could always summon demons.
So,
Then they might kill me.
so Amadorn, I'm already calling you Amadorn for this.
I
know.
I think more so than anybody else, Desmond gets called his character. More like, I think he's the one that we most are like, hey, Amadorn.
Yeah.
So demons represent everything from the demon in Paranormal Activity, if you've seen that,
Yeah.
or a demon host from Warhammer 40k, and everything in between.
Oh, okay.
So, just so you know what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. glad I picked this one. Yeah, I think I want to do ritual.
Okay, you and I can work out the details of which ritual it is,
Yeah.
and it kind of gives you the ability to learn additional ones. So
Yeah,
perfect.
it says create a new one, which kind of excites me.
Yes, I'm open to ideas for that. So lovely. I'm glad we're
I
doing
do
that.
like this little
I roll a
Leviathan
D2.
thing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want the people in that house dead? What if we fucking send them to literal hell? Does that work for you? Because I mean, he does that.
Okay. So next is choosing one friend and one rival. So
Okay.
you have two demons that you could be friends with or rivals with.
Possessor demon.
Yeah. So that's kind of more the paranormal activity type that, you know, kind of hangs around somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
regular demon.
yeah, or or just, you know, your run-of-the-mill demon. Sitara, I'm willing to let you fill in the blanks on Sitara, but I sort of pictured as more of a demon that might be sort of the um, you know, just kind of demon in human form that's pulling all the strings on one faction or another, and generally just a bad actor. But you know, maybe you guys have a nice working relationship.
Yeah, bang the demon, dude. Like that never goes wrong for anybody ever.
So
Yeah, I
the
don't see a problem here.
up arrow is, you know, indicates that they're friends.
Friend and
Down arrow indicates that they're a rival.
Okay. So 2 friends, 1 rival. Is that what you said?
One friend, one rival.
1 friend, 1 rival. Okay.
3 friends, 2 rivals.
How about I make them all my friend? Is that okay?
No.
Can you
He's a
work with that?
likable guy.
Yeah, and if you don't like me, I'll just Leviathan nuke you. Let's see.
I wish we had you earlier when we were trying to intimidate Phoebe to give us more money.
I probably could have thought something up there.
Anyways, one of each. You don't have to pick now, but
Yeah, you can talk to your people. I mean, we have a guy that talks to Satan, so I think we win that pissing contest. But I mean, you know, by all means.
I feel like this possessor demon would be helpful.
all right.
You might be able to talk to like my character's great uncle or something.
So you're good buds with a possessor demon.
Yep.
You can get into the particulars of that at a later time, but in the notes section down below your strange friends, probably a good idea as to elaborate on your relationship with them and what it is they do.
Yeah.
Cool. So next is choosing your vice. The
Okay.
vices, sort of the typical vices, are faith, which could be a forgotten god or unseen power. Sort of the biggest faith organization is the Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh.
Yeah, I noticed 2 people, well, the 2 that I can look at right now, have pleasure as their vice.
Yeah, both me and Esther ended up taking the same one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Maggie also has pleasure.
Okay, I'll change mine
Come
then.
on, guys.
Hey, I didn't do pleasure.
Yeah, I'll change
what-
mine because I didn't know what everybody's was.
Yeah, so that can also be no, Maggie's is family. She's gonna
Oh, yeah, she
family
was gonna
obligation.
take pleasure, and then yeah, okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, sorry. You know what? I'm gonna give access to control for everybody, so just so everybody can poke and
I liked it better whenever I could mess with others and they couldn't mess with mine, though.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I named the Whisperer Amadorn, so.
Yeah, you did.
so
I
I
that's my
also
power.
changed you to a student of Cornell University.
There you
Nice.
Oh, yeah, you did.
go. So faith, gambling, luxury, obligation. So like Biddy chose family for that, but that could be another organization or
Wait, we were supposed to choose an obligation?
no. This is your vice.
Oh, okay. So,
Pleasure could be from lovers, food, drink, drugs, art, theater. So it can really encompass a lot. Stupor. So again, drugs, drinking, getting beaten to a pulp in the fighting pits, which I think Griffin was leaning towards, and
Yep.
weird. So uh, this could be experimenting with strange essences, consorting with demons, um, partaking in bizarre rituals or taboos.
Well, I mean,
when you put it that way,
originally I was thinking faith because forgotten God and all that, but
I feel like you're not really giving Desmond a choice here.
well,
Yeah, I
dude,
feel like
if you had played in our Mistfire campaign, you would understand.
well, maybe he wants to take a departure from that.
hey, yeah, you never know. I mean, I
Vetoed.
don't, but you never know.
Vetoed.
It could change. Um,
As your keeper in the other campaign,
Maybe I should make you
demand-
take a departure from.
I demand that you not change because it's fucking hilarious.
it is also pretty fun, but yeah. So for the faith one, what would that kind of entail? Like, you said a forgotten god or a
Yeah, so it could be Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh. It could be somebody who is familiar with the forgotten gods, and you are making a regular um, penance or regular offering to them. Could be blood ritual. You know, you never know. These are like serious, like old school gods.
mm-hmm.
The name Cthulhu comes to mind for some reason.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Uthaluk, his cousin.
I'm partial to Feniac or I've got a couple of good ones. Medio Knife or
The spider,
the Spider.
or just any big bad from our campaign, right?
Glassstaff.
Oh god, I guarantee next time we go into town, he's not gonna be in that jail. That guy was too suspicious. There's no way something's not going on. Better not be dropping me false hints.
There's plenty of ruins around Duskfall where there could be temples to the forgotten gods. Coleridge has a few of those.
Yeah, just venture outside the.
The more I do think of it, the more I do kind of want the weird one.
Okay. So there's a half-flooded grotto tavern near the docks with strange passageways that lead to stranger chambers beyond. That's run by a hooded proprietor that's yet to be named.
That sounds like fun. I like passageways.
Okay. Well, let me give you a list of all the proprietors,
Sure.
all the weird purveyors here. So, hang on, come on. There we go.
I like the formatting.
Yeah, the formatting gets a little messed up at the start, but kind of clears out. Or you could make up one of your own. It's cool. Sister Thorn, the Deathlands Scavenger Gang.
Rooftop market
Hmm.
vendor.
Yeah, you could do OJAC and try and tie it into how you know us, found out about us.
Yeah, maybe Ojak is good friends with Harrier.
Yeah. Sounds like it would make sense. Yeah, and also, rooftop market vendor of things I need for my rituals.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Right, so just put Ojak next to weird.
Yeah.
Weird Ojak.
Cool.
No, he's one of my people.
Sir.
And you've got a lightning hook. That's awesome.
You should not be trusted with that.
Do I checkmark these? Is that what?
Okay, so how load works is at the start of a score, you pick your load, light,
Oh.
normal, or heavy, and then you pick items to fill that load. So light is if you're going in to like a masquerade ball wearing a tuxedo and a
Mhm.
little mask. Normal is if you're kind of out on the streets doing your thing and generally not going to get hassled by anybody, but you're probably not going to get through the palace gates. And heavy is you're geared for war. You've got heavy armor on. You're probably having not moving as fast as everybody else because you're weighed down by all the equipment you've got. Maybe you've got some slings of dynamite over your shoulder or something. People are gonna look at you funny.
That's like if we were like going to war with the other factions, right? Like,
Yeah.
Can I have a second pistol but not a first pistol?
Doesn't quite work like that. But...
I have two. I have two double pistols, conveniently enough, and
Oh man.
conveniently enough, the human anatomy has two legs and two kneecaps and two elbows, and I don't believe in coincidence.
That's true. So here's some suggestions for like names and stuff and looks. So the last thing is to record your name, alias, and looks. You don't have to abide by those by any means, but they're pretty good. There's some pretty good stuff in there. I could see you being Pool is a pretty good one, or 12s. Pretty good
12s.
aliases. Yeah.
I feel like 12s is a little bit harder to say.
Yeah, but maybe that's how many fingers you have.
That's a good idea. Okay.
You can always go in the other direction and go 9s.
Yeah, I could.
Anyways, so those are,
You can be the doorman.
and I like what they do for looks in terms of like, pick a little column A, a little column B, just to kind of give you overall impressions and
Eelskin bodysuit. Ambiguous. Ambiguous. Gender.
hey, nothing wrong with an eelskin bodysuit. What are you doing on your weekends?
I like it.
Anyways, so yeah, thanks Nate for sticking around. Thanks James for kind of helping get this set up.
Yeah, James had to peace out. But
Okay,
James left like
yeah, I need a second
James,
opinion real quick. So
sure.
for my trained hunting animal companion, whatever the fuck it's called, Do we like the first one that I showed, or do we like this one? 'Cause this one is a little more like sneaky, monster in the dark looking kind of thing,
That one's good
But
too.
both. Yeah.
rather than just like, because I mean, like the fucking dog thing looks like a war beast, but this one, like, I could picture maybe having out at night a little more. It's like slinking across the rooftops and stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, do you want a closer copy of Karagor, or do you want like a sneaky Karagor? 'Cause this one's sneaky Karagor. First one is closer to real Karagor.
I like this one actually.
Yeah, I think I might. I think it fits the setting a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too.
I think I'm gonna change it to take that one. But
Cat creature.
Yeah. I'm gonna be curious what species name you give it.
I'll have to think of that.
Cool guys. So yeah, so I think you've got kind of enough to build on.
Yeah.
You and I can riff on the ritual a bit, kind of figure out what we want to do for that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
gonna be fun.
yeah, should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I think especially if Reston or Desiree flake out tomorrow night, we could definitely do this again. And if it's going to be you two and one of the other guys, maybe we can do crew creation for if you guys wanted to do assassins or something different than smugglers. That could work out. All right, guys, have yourselves a good night.
Yeah,
Should
you
we-
do.
Peace
All right.
out.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Adios.